Are you guys leaving tonight? Okay, okay. Someone in my Instagram, like subscribers only, was like, I think they're leaving tonight. I was like, that's crazy. I texted Haley and she was like super hyped. She was like, oh my gosh, no way. And so I kind of gave the options. I was like, we could meet in OKC on Wednesday. I think
Anyone? Words? Quinn, say something?
bars.
Okay. Can you hear both of us? We're both audible and similar levels of audio.
Free Luigi.
Which one?
Hey, the only one. All right, come
Remember
on,
when
Luigi.
remember when Nintendo came out and was like, it's the year of Luigi. I was so hyped. We were up that
That
day.
intern that intern is now in what's the political prison where it's like you're just allowed to send you there now.
Oh,
Literally,
Guantanamo.
fuck off.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, Trump is opening up not Azkaban, Alcatraz, that's the one.
Yeah, yeah, let's rebuild that. That makes sense. Oh my god. We can't
Dude,
rebuild schools, but
honestly, here's the thing about Trump right now. Whoever gets in his ear last is able to influence him. What if I go to Trump and I'm like, we got to get rid of the AI arena, dude?
hey, you know what? I'd co-sign that. I'd co-sign that. Okay, why are we prioritizing the health and safety of comp beasts? Get them out of here.
Quinn says, why are we helping Tucker sleep? Keep him awake.
Yeah, hey man, what? Hey, what? We got nap time now? We have organized nap times? Is that what we want to? Is that what we want to do now? Is that the dynamic these days? Oh
Yeah,
my god.
it's pretty good. But anyways, if you guys, I think it's pretty clear what the stream is going to be. BB25 versus 26. It's a very interesting dynamic. Quinn's not streaming; it's just here. Um, I feel like the general public, whether you're a casual or like a more of a super fan, is BB26 over 25 any day of the week. You know what I mean? Like that's like not a debate. However, in
Literally,
my
fuck
chat
off.
specifically, I think we might have a 25 bias. So it's going to be kind of an interesting dynamic. Before we dive into it, let me thank Liz and Anonymous for the two gifted. I appreciate all of you. If you like Cory and Quinn content, there might be some more stuff over the next few days. So just stay tuned to all of Quinn stuff, all of my stuff. You guys know where it is. I don't know who I'm going to raid today. Can't raid Quinn, so got to find some other loser,
Yeah.
you know.
Literally, fuck off.
Dorkatron.
Yeah, this is how we get people into the AmeriCorey franchise beyond the BB sphere,
Franchise.
okay? Yeah, the
Yeah,
franchise. We're franchising. There's an AmeriCorey coming to your town.
what I found out is it's not about growing your audience. It's about staunching the bleed. Like making sure you lose your audience slower than the rest. And I feel like we've done a decent job of flowing or staunching the flow. But thank you,
Yeah,
MCNE, for the 16 months as well. I'm going to be very quick on thanking the subs because, again, that's not interesting to a two-person conversation. But if anyone would get it, it is Quinn. So I'm not too worried about that.
That's true.
Quinn.
Use your subscribe. Get on the AmeriCorey Patreon. Stat.
Yeah, honestly, I think you're... I'm trying to think if anyone else has been on there. You've been in 3 separate videos. That might be the peak of anyone outside of us two.
Can we do a vlog when you get here? Can we like really do a vlog?
Get where? What do you mean?
Exactly. Because we're
Actually,
not telling the viewers.
Have you told your audience?
Huh?
Have you told your audience?
I've been
Okay.
yapping. I've
So-
been all right.
Honestly, I saw you play Big Brother, dude. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, all right. Oh, wait.
He
I'm sorry,
actually
like,
just told
my
T-Core and Chemo about the plans.
Hey, you're lucky I couldn't hear you 2 seconds ago, right? I don't know if Oh, America spilled it in book club. See? Me and America, we get it. We got to give info to the people.
You guys do have some similarities in that regard. Quinn, I have a question. So you were a Big Brother 25 viewer. You were a Big Brother 26 player. I want your 2 opinions. Your thoughts about BB25 as you're watching it. Your thoughts of BB26 as a season as you're on it.
Oh, being on it was so much fun, right? Like pure chaos. I was at the center of like a lot of drama. It felt like the plot was happening around me, which I would rather play a messy game and it like I'm part of the plot than like if I got out of the house and I had a total of 4.5 DR sessions and it's like, well, Quinn played this real sick game of like blending into the wallpaper. I would be like, well, this sucks. As a viewer of the show, I'm obsessed. I love it. I think Mackenzie is so much fun in the diary room. Cam post Janky World is like, I would say he steals the show in the diary room. He's so funny. And so I think that I'm such an enjoyer of things that like, no matter what, I was going to enjoy Big Brother 26.
You're just a positive person.
Yeah.
Pisses me off. But when you're watching BB25, I know who you're rooting for, but your takeaway from that season, were you like, this sucked, or were you a little bit higher than some others?
It's so interesting where it's like watching, you know, as an Unreliables guy, I was like, this is fun. But like as a season, it's got a little bit of like a storm cloud around it. And I literally think that it's like the house's aesthetic. It was so dark versus when I watched Big Brother 26, everything is so bright. And we'll get into the houses later. But like, it's so funny when I recall BB25 lore, everything is just storm, lightning bolts everywhere. We are witnessing comp beasts. At least Jag has like charisma, so it's like, you know what, I like Jag as a person, so he's fun to cheer on. But when it was like Siri and Felicia against like the super soldier mafia, I'm like, thing's over, bro. Like, let's wrap it up.
I definitely agree. I think BB25 is a story told in 2 acts. They're very different acts, but we're going to talk about both these seasons in a variety of different categories. Some very serious. We're going to get in the nitty gritty, and others even more serious, and maybe a couple funny ones. Also, shout out to my dad in the chat who says 26 was better. Thanks, Dad.
Yeah! Woo!
In fairness, my mom was like, Xanax before double evictions. Like, I think as an audience member, maybe watching your son play is a little bit stressful. But I think in general, you've got the popular opinion, Dad. Okay, so do you want to just take us into our first category, Quinn?
Let's do it.
Because I think we're doing 25 first on all of them. So here's the way we're going to do this debate. It's not a formal debate, more of a conversation with each of us having our opinions. So I'm going to describe a bit about the theme, my thoughts on it. Quinn, if I say something out of pocket, please jump in, and then we'll just kind of alternate like that. But BB25, I'm standing on the stage, and I start seeing this stupid-ass video of Danielle, Brittany, and Frankie. And I'm like, oh shit, we're having 3 returning players. This is the worst thing ever. Granted, what we actually got with Siri and Jared is probably worse. But I was like, this is a nightmare. The video is terrible. And we ultimately land on the theme of the multiverse, which I think was very timely. Quinn, big picture. Multiverse, good theme, bad theme?
You just sounded like Ainsley took over your body.
Is it that bad?
Oh no.
I think it's on Quinn, this internet thing, because you
You
guys
sounded
hear
like a
me
robot,
fine, right?
but I think it's my Wi-Fi. I think it's my Wi-Fi. There's like
Okay.
storm clouds around me. Can you hear me at all?
I can hear you. Your video's a little bit choppy, but I'll let you know if you become like inaudible.
Oh no.
Fucking Lawton, Oklahoma. It is totally Quinn.
Oh boy.
I see you. You know, it's kind of fading in and out. It cut our sub live for the same issue. I see. I will say it is my dream to have this debate by myself, debating both sides, a fully biased debate about it. It's actually by design. R.I.P. Hey, who expected this to run cleanly, smoothly? Like, really? Oh, God. He was the one sharing his screen, too. This is awkward now. Oh, boy. All right. All right,
Oh
Quinn, you're
no.
back?
Yeah. Sorry, the
right.
Wi-Fi here in Lyon, Oklahoma, we got some storm clouds out there.
Not
Let me see
Google
if I can show-
headquarters?
Yeah, I got fired from Google. They weren't looking for someone of my skill set, which is disrespectful.
Yeah, it's
to
like
say
such
the
a good
least,
skill
but
set. It's weird.
It's like it's so complex, and it's kind of
So-
like the Minutemen of
Well,
skill sets.
I don't know if I'd say that. Can you pull up the presentation again and give to redo it?
Yes, I have it here.
I might have to
Right
add
here.
it to the stage once you share it. I know
Oh,
you guys
man.
can see this. It doesn't make a difference. I'm just not going to let you join.
Oh no. We might need you
I-
to share the screen. That might be killing my
Nah, we're
Wi-Fi.
good.
I don't know.
We're good. We're good. So here's what I'll say about the multiverse. I think the problem with the theme is it's very vague in terms of they could kind of do whatever they wanted with it. And we're not talking about the twists yet. That's its own category. But like all of our competitions were so loosely based on the theme. It was like, oh, this is out of the comic verse. And it was just the wall with like some comics type words on there. So like I enjoyed the theme because I think themes are generally kind of stupid. So like just make it open ended so you can do whatever you want. But I don't think there's much to praise about like the multiverse theme.
Here's the house. See how dark it is? It's like, oh man.
Dude, our
Our
house is cute.
theme was AI. And I don't like AI. AI, Cory said it before the stream, is cringe, and I agree. So we're not a huge fan of that. But it did feel like a more complete narrative. At one point, it was like Tucker had, the like Penn Sylvia, like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia meme, where it's like there's cords and like the red yarn everywhere. He was convinced that there was an ongoing like narrative happening within all the competitions. And so he was trying to read into it. And he's like, I think, here's my Tucker accent. I'm from Boston. My name's Tucker. And I'm telling you right now, there seems to be some kind of, we're going to be on a rocket ship and this thing's blowing up and we're going to be taking off. And I'm like, how does that help us? What conclusions are we drawing here that's beneficial? But I think it made sense.
I think the problem with your Tucker impression is there's not enough pauses. You're just like, the thing is, but I think, look, we're making fun of Tucker for thinking there was a season-long narrative. There was more of a season-long narrative with your theme than I've ever seen in Big Brother history. They stuck by Ainsley. They add in Janky. There was like a whole plot. Everything's about like recharging the core. The AI arenas are all There's some weird story mechanism to them. So like y'all did have a plot. I mean, okay, how about this, Quinn? Can you synthesize the plot of your season from just like the Ainsley Janky side of things? Like, what's the story?
Ainsley, we betray her trust. She's hurt. She lashes out on us. And then a result of lashing out on us is she wants to take over the world. The best plot point that I don't remember if it's included in the episodes during the bot builders competition is we had to build a robot that was literally built for terrorism.
Yeah, that's a
I'm begging that people, I hope they included it and people know what I'm talking about. But like they said that we were gonna like blow up like the White House or something. And we like all looked at each other like, wait, we're getting implicated within this greater story. But yeah, we witnessed the end of the world. Janky, the death of joy and positivity in the cold, heartless AI universe.
I'll tell you, compared to BB25, where the story was Frankie, Danielle, and Brittany opened a portal, and then Siri was let in the house, and then they closed the portal and opened the portal to Santa's domain. Like, I think you guys win in that department. Here's what I'll say sucks about your theme. I have two things, two notes. The first one, house is ugly as shit. It's one of the ugliest Big Brother houses I've ever seen. The bedrooms are chill. This open area is ugly as shit, and I've never hated a backyard more.
Okay, the backyard it left their stuff to be desired. The coding was a lot. I did want to compliment Big Brother 25. You have way better chairs. Can you see my mouse here?
Yeah.
These chairs for like pushing them in for each ceremony and stuff like that, probably really easy. You probably didn't even have a second thought about it.
Literally, fuck off.
The idea of continuity with these chairs where they're all pushed together and they're still too big for the table, absolutely impossible. But I love that our house looks like a rocket ship. I think we look great. It looks like a space station, dude.
A little bit. My problem with your backyard, more specifically, was like, I've been in that backyard. I see what furniture you got. First of all, it was all like movable cushions and stuff. It wasn't actually like real solid furniture, and I know that shit was wet 24/7.
Yes.
Just
all
moist
of the fabric
chairs.
was wet. It was a miserable existence. You would want to. I remember like when I formed the Snoots, we get on the hammock, the like comforter is there, and it's just drenched, and I'm like, oh my god, this is disgusting.
You got to flip it. Rookie mistake.
It's a miserable existence.
So, and the other big thing that sucks about your theme, is as a result of like them using all the deep fakes and stuff, they actually had to incorporate AI quite a bit into the season. Like that was kind of what they had to do, which is its own problem. Like how many forests burnt down for Tucker to list groceries?
Dude, we took out the fact that we took out the Amazon rainforest for my deep fake thing for the HOH, and then they didn't even show it in the edit or even for the feeds. Disrespect.
They started showing some of that shit on the feeds, at least the instigator stuff, which I'm like, oh, that's how you know a twist flopped, when they start showing it on the feeds.
They're like, fuck it, we don't care. For some reason, Tucker is going to make them think that there's a memory competition. Sick prank, bro.
Yeah.
He should have been saying crazy stuff.
All right, let's talk about what I think is the most important category on any Big Brother season, by far. The cast. Let's walk through this 25 cast, because I think the big difference between 25 and 26 is 25 has a lot more people you're rooting against, and in my opinion, more people to root for as a result of how many people you're rooting against. I think when you look at this list of people, there's only like 2 or 3 who really didn't add anything to the season. Luke's a problem. That's a strike against BB25 for sure. Outside of that, Felicia played a massive role. America did a ton. Heisem's a huge character. I understand there's differing opinions on Bowie, but I love Bowie. Cameron is Cameron. Like, I think our cast, everyone added a lot. Everyone was playing hard, but there's certainly more, it's more spotty, I think is the way I would say it.
It feels like your cast is like the technical hires. They're like, okay, our company is at risk of going under. We need everyone who's going to work really hard, addicted to the Sigma grind set. Mm-hmm. And then the company is getting going and they're like, you know what we're missing though? Because it is a bit of a toxic workplace.
Yeah. We
need some personality hires. And that's where you get my cast of just like, we're the fun, quirky, like we're just trying to have a good time. People don't want to play too hard. People over profits. Like, heaven forbid you come off as like strategic, because now it's the talk of the town. So I just think that our casts are so different in
Yeah.
adding to the Big Brother matrix of like personality versus killer instinct.
So allow me to criticize 26, and then I'll ask you to do the same for 25.
Okay, gotcha.
Here's the question I'm going to pose to you, Quinn. How many people on this cast would you consider, by your definition, whatever you want to define it as, a real fan of Big Brother?
Okay, so big time fans.
I'm not talking super fan, just like a
Joseph.
legitimate fan, you know?
Yeah. Oh, okay. In that case, Angela is like a fan of the show. It
Okay.
meant something for her to be there. I'm a big fan. Um, Chemo cares. Chemo cares about the show. It was important for him to be on the show. I don't know about like playing really hard, but he was
Sure.
he was a big fan. Brooklyn is a fan of the show. She actually cares.
Mm-hmm.
Chelsea is a fan, of course.
Yep.
Joseph loves reality TV in general. I feel like it's so funny that he's on Big Brother, because I feel like Big Brother is like so exhausting for an introvert like him, where he's so cynical that it's like he hates it here, but he loves the show. Like,
Yeah.
and then that's about it, right? Like,
Yeah.
Kenny is supposed to be a fan, but Renee, his wife, his wonderful wife, Renee, is the super fan. He just made it through casting, and so it's like, oh, well, yeah.
Yeah, and I will say I do question like some of the people you listed, and obviously you know better than me, but like I don't know how much of a fan Chemo was. I don't know how much of a fan Angela was. I don't know like the math of how much I want to be on TV and do like one of these games versus how much I want to be on Big Brother. And like if you go back to the 25 cast for a second, Quinn, it's like just looking at this array of people. Can you go back to the picture? Yes, here we are. So like the only people who genuinely I think had no interest in the show was like Kirsten had nothing, Luke had nothing, Red had nothing, and Blue had nothing. Yeah, I'll put
That
Matt
is
in that
true.
category too. I think we have like 5 people who genuinely like didn't know the show and only watched 1 or 2 seasons before going in. But like obviously I'm a super fan, America's a super fan, Izzy, people clown on her calling herself a super fan, but when you've watched every season of the show, that qualifies for me.
Yeah, I thought that was like weird. She very clearly misspoke during her interview, where she said like, I've watched every season twice in the last like how many ever months, and so then people were speculating that she wasn't that big of a fan. But I was like, guys, no one is gonna pretend to be a super fan. Like, that is setting yourself up for a car
Yeah.
crash of like people now they're questioning like, oh, well, what do you really know about the show? Like, I agree.
Yeah.
Um, what I would say is like, when it comes to my cast, we had like fans of the show versus students of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So like, and for me, what that distinction is like, honestly, and this is partially why I talked about RHAP so much, was like, to me, if you're absorbing extra content around it, then that goes from fan to super fan. And so Joseph, he was really into RHAP back in the day. I know Chelsea did her homework with RHAP, but I think that she was still like a casual fan, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
where
Of
she
course.
just loves the show. Brooklyn, she was doing a lot of research throughout the years because, she's been trying to get on for years. Chemo is just a fan of the show, straight up. Angela is just a fan of the show. And then like I was super into
Of
RHAP and
course.
stuff like that. So I think that might be the difference between like fan and like someone who's, I don't know if that
Yeah,
makes
and
sense.
like just to be clear, like players that I've got like Jag and Riley as fans of the show, they're not on that level. Like they've watched it and enjoy it and can talk to you about previous seasons, 1 or 2 of them, right? Like I think that's the distinction. It's kind of like, have you ever seen the show before? Is like the bar we're trying to clear. I think America has a great like heuristic of, have you ever voted for AFP or like voted for anything on the show?
Yeah,
And like
yeah.
on our cast, I would say we probably had like 4 to 5 people who would have done that. Like me, America, Cameron, Mimi. Izzy didn't get the
Which
chance to, but she would have.
I know you only got one of my AFP votes, So my bad. But I did get you Path of Power. All right. I was in there. I was in these streets. I used my company email and my
Mm.
my school email. So I got
Hey,
you on Path of Power.
I got you back. I gave you my AFP votes. It was all in vain. It was very fun casting a stress-free AFP vote. I'm like, we know who's winning this. We're going for top 3, baby.
Yeah. Shout out to the viewer. If you voted for me for AFP, we were up against like a literal demon. All right.
Yeah,
He was TV gold, but yeah, I feel like our casts are so
it's
different
different.
wavelengths. Like this feels like prison. I would if I were like to choose if I could time travel and I had to decide, okay, I get on Big Brother 25 and I play with the knowledge of the game that I have versus
Sure.
playing 26. And maybe it's because I live with them and I love them. I'm choosing my cast because this feels like a nightmare situation. I would be
I'm
so scared.
curious, but well, okay. I talked to Joseph recently, and in my opinion, someone like Joseph would be much better suited to BB25. And I think I think you're kind of in the middle because you do have a demeanor that I think works a little bit better with 26, and like people are generally having more fun and playing more games and being more social. Whereas like 25 was kind of cynical the whole time, and I think a lot of how a cast plays, especially players like Blue. I guess an example in your cast would be like, let's just say T-Core, like someone unfamiliar with the show. You kind of play based on how the rest of the house is playing and how the person in charge is playing. For us, we get injected with Siri Fields immediately. And Siri is playing so hard along with Jared and Izzy, who by themselves are frenetic all over the place players. And it forces players like Blue and even someone like Red, for an example, to play so much harder than a Cam on your season. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, I think that tracks. I also wonder like if I'm on Big Brother 25, I am as casual of a Survivor fan as you can get. Like I like it when they give us their backstory, you know? Like
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I want to cry today, sure. And so I'm curious like Suri kind of found your love for Survivor and your like respect for her as like somewhat of a red flag because it's like, oh, this kid is like
Yeah.
knowledgeable of my game and I need to potentially take him out. Um, I feel like I would be like, that's so cool that you were on Survivor, but I don't think I would give her any other ammunition of like, oh, this guy thinks I'm the best to never win, which like is probably true, but I don't know if I would articulate that unless it was just me being like, yeah, I'm a big fan of yours. Like,
Yeah. I mean, it got me into trouble early, but and I think in general, people talk about Suri and her impact in 25 as like, oh my God, everyone idolized her. No one knew who she was. I was the only person who knew who she was outside of Izzy and Jared. Riley can say she's seen her on TV, and Matt and her name sounded familiar to them. I actually know Suri.
yeah.
So, yeah, obviously, I think there's a more artful way of doing it. Part of it is I'm also just genuinely like fanboying out. But I just think her being like the force central to the house kicked everyone's ass into high gear because if not, you were going to get steamrolled. And I think that's why our season got off to such like a hot start. Whereas for you guys, it's like, who's gonna take that initiative? Like, who's going to be the one to like start going? And I guess it was Angela. What do you think?
Um, honestly, it was because it's like a I feel like Angela kickstarted it, but it was just like a discomfort throughout the house. Other than like trying to keep up with a game where it's like there's social moves being made. My feeling as Angela's like calling out Matt was, oh my God, like this is it really felt like I was witnessing like a mental health crisis and I knew how big like Big Brother Twitter is, and I know how mean people can be and stuff like that. And so that was something that really stressed me out. So it was like there were times where it's like I don't even want to like play the game right now because I'm so stressed about like how other people are being perceived. And then like in terms of the big time players, Brooklyn is like an underground making connections with everyone. Chelsea week 1 was the microchip, so she was kind of staying out of
Yeah.
trouble. Like a lot of our more dynamic players, the more talented ones like Suri, they were playing like a low key game at the start. And then we witnessed a jump from Angela to then a jump from Tucker where Tucker's calling out gameplay. If he even like for a second thought you were strategic, he's going to just win the veto and yell at you after the meeting, like during the meeting. So it like kind of paralyzed gameplay and slowed it down. We witnessed people not name their alliances because they're scared of it
Yeah.
getting outed. Like So I think that the big people who were winning competitions were so scary that it was like nerve-wracking to play the game as
Well,
well.
you know what ruined, I think, ruined is strong because I think the start of 26 was very fun. But like what killed a lot of the drama that could have existed and people like being forced to play harder was the bottom tier players on 26 are probably some of the worst we've ever seen. Where like Lisa, Kenny, and Angela just being there as potential nominees for the first 3-4 weeks
Yeah,
made the game so simple, and someone like Cam genuinely didn't have to do anything to avoid the block every week.
he was just a cool social guy. It's so funny. The number of times in weeks 1 and 2 that I said Cam was the best player in the game. Like I'd go to the diary room and I'd be like, Cam's playing the best game. My plan, I'm just gonna shack up next to this guy. Everyone wants to be in an alliance with him, and he keeps inviting me to things. And then
Yeah.
week 3, I said, I've changed my mind. Chelsea's the best player in the game. My plan is to hopefully stick around with her for a little bit. And then it's like me unraveling the Pentagon is like coming
Yeah.
into fruition, and I'm like, so I now have an enemy of the best player in the game. I'm so scared right now, but yeah, tons.
So
It's like our more passive players also kept making it deeper and deeper to the point where
yeah.
it was like, well, the exciting TV moment between like me versus Chemo, it's like, well, Chemo's not going to advocate for himself when he's on the block. He probably won't win a competition. If it comes time to campaign, he probably won't do that either. So like there was never any interesting like I feel like big time threat, and so I feel like that's why I went home. That's why T-Core goes home next to Rubina, because it's like, well, Rubina just isn't as socially like insulated. So yeah, we'll take out T-Core. Fine. These people aren't going to advocate for themselves, and so why does it matter?
So let's talk about one more thing about the BB25 cast before we move on to the next category. I'm just curious your thoughts on it. We've been talked about this. Conceptually, how do you feel about Jared and Suri as like a twist idea? Do you think that is additive to the cast, or is that like a mark against it? That you have this secret mother-son duo, Survivor legend?
I like that Suri was in it. Like I think that that's cool that we got such a big name in Survivor. And she's like a social threat too. Like it really felt like they were intentional about who they selected to be
Yeah.
the Survivor representation. I don't like that. Like your game was impacted, America's game was impacted. Like my favorite players were put in worse
Everybody's.
positions because,
Yeah.
which like everyone, but like I liked that Izzy was empowered by this connection. Like I thought that was sick. I'm
Yeah.
a little biased. I like Izzy, but like I don't think that it's a fair format because you didn't know that putting your foot on the gas and taking out Jared has such deeper personal ramifications. Like you
Yeah.
just don't, and that's not fair. That's not cool. Like it's not like the twin twist where you're only dealing with one unknown at a time,
And you could
then it becomes
legitimately
two.
figure it out, too.
Yeah.
And here's the more important thing. Both times we've had the twin twist, they've made it to the point where they both re-enter the game. And at that point, like, at that point, Liz and Julia are related. That's not a mystery. I think the piece of it that I think a lot of people forget is people view the twist as like, it actually wasn't an advantage to Suri because Jared was so bad. And I totally get that. I think there's a real argument to Suri does better without Jared. But the twist fucked over so many other players. So even if it didn't help Suri, Red goes home because of this. Heisem kind of goes home because of this. I have like 6 vendettas because of this. And really, like, it's not just Suri and Jared. They also cast Izzy, who is a very out in front, active Suri fan on the outside, and she was asked in pregame press, apparently. Like, that was a factor. At least they knew she was a huge Survivor fan, if nothing else. And they cast me, who is also connected to Survivor. So, like, I kind of like the twist conceptually, and I think it was fun for the show, and it kind of boosted the early game. I think it was a little heavy-handed, though, of, like, does she also not have to be eligible for the first set of nominations? Like, we needed that.
That was crazy. She should have had to compete. And, like, who was Kirsten sitting next to?
It was eventually Felicia, but it was me, Jared, Felicia, and Kirsten at the start.
Because I remember, like, Jared was kind of the nail in the coffin for Kirsten just because he didn't like her vibe. And he's like Suri really liked Kirsten. And then he's like, yo, she sucks. Weird.
She had some weird talks with Kirsten that I was like, what? Like, I think Kirsten got iced out of the game so early that Suri
Mm.
realized she didn't have to like put the moves on Kirsten because it just didn't matter. So she was much more open and being like, "Hey, Kirsten, we don't get along very well, and that's fine." It is very interesting, like having a player who can so effortlessly turn it on and off. Whereas I feel like for you and me, it's like I kind of am who I am, and no matter what I'm doing, I'm just being Cory. And like I
Yeah.
try to flip the switch, but at the end of the day, it's like a pretty small adjustment.
Hell yeah. Let's get into the
Twists.
twists.
Okay. I want
Right.
to talk through every single twist on both of our seasons. We'll do it pretty quickly because there's not that many. Night one twist of my season. We have this multiverse, 4 competitions, 4 nominees. The HOH removes 2. Love it or hate it. Yeah,
I
it
don't like
sucks.
it. It makes the first HOH too easy. You just form your majority alliance and you're good because you don't actually have blood on your hands on who's on the block. Like it just feels like too easy.
It makes it too easy in some ways, but it also like removes the power from being HOH because like usually the whole point is you're gonna make 2 enemies on your season, 3
Yeah.
enemies, but you're gonna gain 13 allies by not putting them up. Here it's like you gain favor from me and Jared, but that's it. And also the bigger problem is like how many times do we simulate BB25 and have Felicia as an initial nominee with this twist? Like 95 times out of 100,
Yeah.
96. It's just like it's just kind of goofy. But yeah. Then we kind of go on. We have the Nether region, which I don't think is worth talking about really. We get down to, I guess the next big one is Path to Power, which ends up saving Jag. I want to talk about this a bit because I actually think this was a really good way of doing an audience vote. Generally, I think audience votes are just bad in general, and we'll definitely talk about it on your season. But like, I like the idea of you vote for 4 players to compete in a competition. So those players, and the competition was super like, it was like a table maze thing. So it's like, you give everyone a bit of agency, and it's not just automatically giving Saria power, you know?
Yeah. I really liked Path of Power. Guy I voted for had a chance.
I got
You
close.
didn't study with Zach? That was the most Survivor challenge ever.
Dude, it was 8 seconds. It was so heavy too. Matt probably lifted it with his pinky.
Yeah, dude, he's so big. It's crazy. I think that's a good twist. I like the fan votes when it's early game and it's like, did it end up becoming a big like whatever? I guess it was a big deal because Jag got to stay, but it's like that's kind of fun that you get to decide, if you want to save someone like that. That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, look, my frustration with the twist is pretty simple. First of all, we could have just kept Kirsten after Luke got ejected and just get rid of this whole thing. But like, I hate people returning to the house at all. People being not like every bad twist in Big Brother history could usually be traced back to someone not being evicted or someone coming back. Like it's always a bad thing. And 26 never did this, whereas 25 did it like 4 different times. And the other thing is like the way the twist works, if you remembered, is like it's an immunity idol essentially. You have to correctly assess who's going home and use it on them for it to have any effect. But like Big Brother's pretty fucking straightforward when it comes to like a vote.
Especially because you guys were telling each other who you're gonna vote for, so it's like, oh, all right,
well,
cool.
Do you want to talk about that for a second? Because that's a meaningful distinction. So in 26, one of the biggest, I think, things people praise is not as many unanimous votes. Everyone was being blindsided. Now, Quinn, from your perspective, why?
Well, they first of all, going through casting, they asked every single time, are you going to vote with the house? To which my answer was, if it benefits me. And then I cited Enzo, who I know is an enemy of the show now. But I was like, one of the funnier personalities, Enzo, he would throw out like a fake vote every once in a while. And I don't know if it was ever strategic, but as a viewer, that's like vaguely fun. So if I find myself in a situation where I can stir up drama, I'll do that. So I think that the recruits had that in their head where it's it's very important not to vote with the house, which I don't know if that's production's interest. But then you have yourself in a position where they told us you're not allowed to tell the person on the block who you're voting for.
Yes.
Which is a Big Brother rule, but no one ever follows it. But
it's
my
in the
people
handbook
were just
too.
I
asked this question in Sequester, being like, so I saw this, and I've also seen 24 seasons of the show. Is this fucking real? And the answer I got was like, Yeah. You know. Well,
You don't
also,
have
it
to.
applies to nominations too. Like, theoretically, you're not supposed to tell people you're nominating them. That also has to be a surprise.
Oh, true. But I broke that rule every single
I
time.
think most people did. But I guess the distinction there would be like 26 got the result that most fans would want. And I think the reason that result was possible because they had players unaware that they were able to do something else. Which, if you're saying fuck it, I'll take that trade off. I get it. For me, I'm willing to sacrifice the Blindsides to have players feel like they're not paralyzed by rules.
I also think that we would. I think that we would break the rules if the AI arena didn't exist, because then you would have your like for real goodbyes with people, and it'd be like a meaningful thing. But since they could stay, the goodbye was always like, if you're Cam talking to Tucker, I thought this was
Yeah.
really smart, where he's like, you better win this, and which is so funny because it's like Cam is like, I'm gonna vote for you to go home, but
Yeah.
I'm filling you in, and so it's the illusion of like our alliance. So I think that if we had a season like yours, where it's two people are in the block, they didn't win the veto, they are being marched to the gallows as we speak. We are parading their death into the end, like like the ethereal plane. It would be great to be able to say goodbye, but instead it was always like, "Hey, you're good, but we're gonna blindside you because you might win the AI arena."
Well, but the thing is, on 26, when it gets to jury, AI Arena's gone. You were still kind of blindsided when every like thing you learn about Big Brother is like, oh, you should probably not blindside the first member of the fucking jury. And the same thing happened with T-Core, and the same like it felt like it didn't stop. Do you think at that point the culture was just like established and that's just what people did?
1,000,000%. Same with like the veto being used, where I was like, "Well, this is what we do. We're Big Brother 26. Come on."
Yeah, I guess. Just moving quickly on with the twists, we have Zombie Week, which I think is universally panned as one of the worst twists in Big Brother history. Maybe that and like the coup d'état are top two. I don't have much to. It just sucked ass. There's no redeeming
Zombie Week is
quality.
the reason why Camp Quinback didn't happen in BB26.
I'm
And
glad.
I said that to production. I was like, last year's zombie twist was too ass. I know I'm not getting another chance to go in. And they were just like,
Yeah.
you never know.
I feel like they just overcooked. Like they saw this like weird gap in their schedule where they wouldn't have 3 episodes in 1 week, and they're like, "Oh, we got to redesign the game." It's like, dude, I've seen these episodes. You can put the nominations and veto in the same one. Like it'll be fine.
It's not. It's hard.
And then the final kind of big twist we have is the comic week with the invisible HOH, power of multiplicity. I think this honestly is worse than Zombie Week, not in terms of its impact on the season, but just by its core design. There's so many clearly fucking obvious problems in how they designed this twist that anyone with a brain could have pointed out instantly, and they just rode with it. Having an invisible HOH that is extremely physical is just ridiculous. Not to mention making that veto then physical and then allowing the HOH to play the following week. Also, I want to talk to you about this, Quinn, of like doing this twist at the final 8, and you guys had Janky Week at the final 8, is not the right time to introduce game-breaking twists. There's not enough players to be able to navigate it. Because you guys had 2 vetoes too, right?
Yeah. But then it was like Leah had to throw a ball, and she didn't land them, so it didn't end up mattering. But it's like, I agree. I think the deeper you get, the less influence production should have. I think that the intention is that like the end game of like most reality TV shows is kind of rough because people are, it feels like risk averse. I don't know. So I feel like they introduced this double veto and stuff to be like, yeah, let the chopper sing, do whatever you want, like let's go crazy, and then the power ends up in the wrong people's hands anyway. So the rich get richer.
And I totally understand it. Like, I think from their perspective, it's like, okay, the season's always going to start off hot. That's just how it works. People are excited. And then you get to this middle portion of the season where you're like, okay, we got to inject something. The problem is a split like, or a twist like the Split House, or Janky Week, or Comic Week works really well at the final 13, or the final 14, or the final 12. But when you save it for 8, you get in the situation where You have an invisible HOH. He's a secret. Okay. It's also a physical comp, so we can narrow it down basically to who it is. Then he has to nominate 2 people. That rules some people out who could be HOH. Bowie can't play because she played the previous week. Then the veto is going to be used once or twice, which means you have to replace them. And if someone off the block uses the veto and someone... You get to the point where, like, you nominate by default. You run out of fucking people. And when you're trying to hide the identity of the HOH to the point where you're letting them compete twice in a row, there's nothing redeeming about this twist. I do have similar criticisms of Janky Week, but, like, I think BB25, this is the department where there's essentially no argument. And you could also put in Siri and Jared itself as a twist, which obviously people have mixed feelings about. That's probably the most positively received one because at least there's a debate. But, it's kind of bad top to bottom. Is there anything else you got to say about 25?
Not quite. I feel like you kind of nailed it. I like the idea of an invisible HOH. Like, I think that's fun, but it should be like, did you do the hockey one? Is that the one where Felicia won? And it was like a gambit. Like, you have no idea. Like, it's so random.
Plinko.
There's no skill involved.
That's exactly what the invisible HOH should be, because when we're immediately able to say, all right, well, it's not Siri or Felicia. Honestly, it's probably not. Like America put in a fucking perfect time and lost by 3 minutes. Like, it was just such an obvious oversight, and they just went with it. 26.
And these outfits suck. We talked about this beforehand, but these outfits blow ass.
Oh, Big Brother Canada would have done, like, face paint and shit. It would have been so cool. All right, you want to talk us through our twists?
Yes, Big Brother 26, filled to the brim with twists. Off the rip, we have an upgrade and a downgrade for each move-in group.
Mm-hmm.
It's contingent on you voting yes or no. For some reason, people were voting no, even though in the monologue beforehand, she explicitly says that, like, bad things will happen or something. Or maybe it was like a promise of something good will happen if you vote me in the house. Crazy that nobody took the risk to say yes. I don't know what they thought was going to happen. So we had that. I won. Your boy, freak athlete. The power that I had was completely OP.
Yeah.
I knew that everyone was going to be pissed about it. Some of the specifics seemed to shift as we made it further into the game. I thought I could vote.
Thank you, anonymous Rune Queen.
No one corrected me. And then what else? Then we have the AI arena, which then empowers the comp beasts of the world. We have 3 people on the block every week for an obscene amount of time. I had to nominate, like, what was it, like 60% of the house or something like that? Like, it was an absurd number where I was like, why do you hate me? That's what I said to production. I said, all right, is it 2 or 3? They said 3. I said, you hate my guts. And I can tell. And they just laughing at me. But, like, it was such dark times. We get the AI instigator because my deep fake HOH didn't make the show, even though I felt like I was very funny. We get the AI instigator that becomes a bit of a nothing burger.
Total nothing burger. There's some relationship drama in the nothing burger, but, like, I appreciated that they did an audience vote that didn't matter. I kind of like that because we all knew who was going to win it, and I was like, what are they just going to give him a veto or something? That's so stupid.
It was something fun. Like, I think the idea was fun. I just think, like, it's so funny. Tucker was such a chaotic player, but in that, he, like, played it with his cards so close to his chest. He should have been outing, like, Quinn, this is what so-and-so is saying about you. And, like, get real messy about it. And then he should have been, like, pitting Chelsea and, like, Mackenzie against one another. Like, he should have fully went sicko mode, but instead we ended up turning into a fake competition. I don't know.
It's just kind of hard too, though. Like, I don't actually blame Tucker for what happened with the instigator, because it's like, if I'm in the house, I would think it's Tucker. So, like, you can't be that aggressive, because if you know it's an audience vote. Did you guys know it was an audience vote in the house?
Bro, people were speculating that it was Cedric in Brooklyn.
Yeah, okay. Well,
they were like, it might be Brooklyn. I was like, no, it's not. I was like, guys, it's obviously Tucker. I remember we were speculating and we were talking about how horrible of a job they were doing. And so then they were saying it was production. They were saying production was doing it and America was voting on what to say. To which I was like, do you understand how unfair that would be? for someone's game to get exposed by America, and then like the
Yeah.
next vote is we're talking about T-Core's Lilac Croc. Like who gives like that's not it. Um so like for me and maybe like Chelsea probably could have figured it out if she was interested, but nothing was too crazily
It just
said.
didn't matter.
Yeah, it was just like I knew it was Tucker because I knew he was going to be AFP, and I was like, this is very
Yeah.
clearly an America's vote thing.
Also, after you were
Um,
nominated by the veto, I think that paints a pretty clear picture too.
oh yeah, that was another twist. Is
Yeah.
Mackenzie's America's veto, where they vote for their least favorite person or what is the most drama is what I tell myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a fun twist. I think that America should be voting who gets to choose who goes on the block.
Nah, I hate that. Because I think the problem is they've done that before with the MVP, and the same person's going to win every
Yeah.
vote, which is exactly what happened. Like if that was how it worked, Tucker would have gotten America's veto, then he would have gotten the instigator,
Yeah.
then he would have gotten 20K. Like I'm a firm believer of you shouldn't have America's votes for things this important because again, people who say it's rigged, that's the wrong words. It is influenced by the edit of the episodes, and the people
Yeah.
who edit the episodes, they're not trying to get Quinn on the block. Like that's not what's happening. It's just by nature of making narratives, some people are going to be excluded entirely and they have no shot of being nominated. I voted for Cam at this stage of the game, and I like Cam a lot. He just was kind of a non-factor in the whole thing, and it was a vote totally in vain because no one knew his name if you were a casual. Like you weren't introduced to him yet.
All my friends were using like my school's emails because it's just like first and last name. And so my friends were going down every person they've ever thought of or interacted with in college and voted for Cam. Um, the thing about this twist was like
Yeah.
the overall vibe, same with the downgrade. The overall vibe was this isn't fair, so we're not going to participate in this system. No
Which
one
is
wanted to
crazy.
be America's veto person.
Yeah.
So it was so easy to appeal to that and say, this is BS. This isn't fair. Same with like the downgrade. Like Cedric and Chelsea, they wouldn't have found themselves in that position anyway.
Yeah.
Unless like Tucker won HOH. But like because him and Cedric were kind of button heads, but like no one was gonna put him up because it's not fair. You don't get to play in the veto, that's whack. Like, so I don't know. A lot of our twists were very big, but they were well received due to the chaos of our season.
Yeah, and it just creates this weird dynamic on like a few levels where like first of all, being voted in that position sucks, and I think you're probably the only person who would have dealt with it okay. I think Joseph maybe would have been able to have it roll off his back a little bit, but like beyond that, I would find that crushing to be put in that position, and I don't think it'd be a fun thing to watch on the feeds. It would just kind of be a bummer. I think what's helpful is like at least the nomination was right before the vote because they didn't like
Yeah.
if you're nominated on Tuesday or Wednesday, that's very very dangerous in terms of like we have Quinn on the block against Kenny. Like this is
Yeah,
a pretty
my
easy fucking
biggest
call.
advocation tool was saying like I'm gonna use the upgrade next week, so we might as well just save ourselves some time. Let me use
Yeah,
the weapon, and then like none of you are getting hurt. Little did Cedric know it would lead to his death. But like, yeah, I think that as a super fan, if the Big Brother community wasn't so predictable,
yeah,
that would really hurt my feelings. But the fact was, I knew that Tucker was going to be America's favorite player because he's a conventionally attractive, ripped dude who wins competitions and is playing chaotically, and
makes
he's
big
really funny.
moves.
So
Yeah,
I was like, he's got it. Like, there's nothing I can do. Like, I need to start working on my abs for All Stars 3.
yeah.
You know,
It's
like,
something Heybub mentioned in the chat is that Quinn went from being voted on the block to top 3 AFP, which is like obviously that story is cool. It also I don't think much changed between those two moments. Like I think if you did a top 3 AFP at the moment of America's veto, I still think it is probably you, Tucker, and Angela, which is like kind of the nature of why the twist is stupid. Because like, why is someone who would get the most votes for the favorite or up there, at least not near the bottom, going to go
yeah.
on the block when theoretically what America's veto is supposed to be is like, who do you want to nominate, America? So I agree with like the idea of whoever gets the least amount of votes should go on the block. But again, that just comes down to who production doesn't include in the edit. So it's like, I don't know.
It's like BB20, like who's trending, like, and then it was like a fun punishment. Like that to me is a fun America's vote thing.
Yeah.
Fessy having to eat fake ham, like, or substitute ham. That's a
Hmm.
fun twist, and it's like, ha ha ha, you're like not trending, whatever. But when it's
Yeah.
someone's game, like in Survivor 48 with the Yahtzee game, that blows ass. If production is the reason you go home, like that just sucks, dude.
I agree.
I think that BB26 beats Big Brother 25 in
Yeah.
our twists just because they worked out. We got a lot of like crazy blindsides. I loved Direfest. I would have loved Janky World as a player. That
Yeah.
is so fun. I think that's intriguing. I think they should do it like after the second eviction where it's the split house. I think that would be so much fun. But I think that like my cast was just it just happened to work out. We had a Tucker and Mackenzie to win all the competitions. So it was just like,
Yeah. And look, I think the AI arena, like, say what you will, there's a lot of negatives that you've talked about. There's a lot of positives too. Like, AI arena is a mixed twist, which is better than 90% of twists, which are usually just like uniformly bad. Two more things I want to talk about. So, deepfake HOH as a concept. I know you probably have personal opinions on it. I think this is one of the worst twists they've ever introduced. It's just fucking busted. If I was a player, I would play it pretty similarly to how you would. Hopefully, just like at some point, the first time there's an HOH who's a little bit like, I don't know what the fuck they're going to do. You just go up to them, spill your guts, and then just become HOH for the week. And it's just too overpowered is the first thing. And I think their dream of like the deep fake and the drama and the tricking that happens 0 times out of 100.
they should have told us, much like the failure of the invisible HOH. They should have straight up told us that you're not allowed to talk about it
Yeah.
because people are going to try to do damage control anyway. Kenny, using his police wisdom, deducted that I had the upgrade before Tucker even did.
Yeah.
And it was just because, like, with the move in group, my one out scapegoat was Lisa because she was just so naturally suspicious that it
Mm-hmm.
was just like, they should have just said, hey, you're not allowed to talk about the upgrades.
Yeah, but okay, so let's go down that road. You can't talk about the upgrades, and you do. Then what happens?
Then you can't use it.
Yeah, I think the problem is like that plan makes sense, but every version of enforcing the rule sucks ass for television. And I think that's the
Yeah.
thing they found out with like Mike Boogie and the coup d'etat, where like he ends up telling Will, and then they just have to kind of brush it off the show. It's like Tucker breaking have not rules. They're gonna brush it off the show because it's not a fun thing to show. Like it's not like a good story. You don't have to say, "Oh, this person's nominated because they broke this house rule." That's just lame.
Yeah, that's true. And it's just like, you're kind of cooked no matter what with the, because I got consent from everyone on what I could roast them about, which was probably the worst TV thing for them. Luckily, I
Mm-hmm.
was like really funny with everyone else. So it's like, they didn't know what I was going to say about Joseph or Chemo. Like they didn't know what I was going to say for the other people, but I
Yeah.
made sure that I wasn't crossing any lines when I brought up Krusty Cam, which was his nickname, like bully nickname given to him in middle school. Like it was like I asked consent to make sure it was okay to joke about specific things. And
Yeah.
so I bet production was pissed at me anyway, and that's probably why I didn't make the show, just because they knew who said it and they gave permission for it to be said. So like,
I just think it would highlight how like much of a flop the twist was. Which again, I don't actually. I think you probably wish you played the twist like slightly differently, but ultimately, it's going to work out the same way most seasons. The next twist I want to talk about, Quinn, is like, so let's talk about Janky Week, because the way Janky Week works is just you're in the backyard the whole time, and then there's 2 vetoes. It's kind of the gist of it, but I can't express, Quinn, how fucking unwatchable Janky Week made the feeds. Because you're in the backyard, you know that backyard. There's planes every 5 seconds. You just couldn't hear. It was crazy.
yeah. And from what I heard from T Core and everyone else as they like sprinkled in, you could not talk game because you could hear people from across the backyard.
Yeah.
So it's like, there's definitely something that needs to be done. I think it's a fun idea to split the house. Maybe they utilize the like basement, like in Big Brother 20 somehow, where it's like
Yeah.
you're split into the basement and you're constantly cycling from
Mm-hmm.
in the house to the backyard to the basement, but just keeping everyone split, I think that's where that twist succeeds. But
Yeah,
other
I
than
think
the
so.
spectacle of Janky being so charismatic and cool.
I think they should just do a split house at the final 14 or 12 next year. I think that's just like the perfect way of doing it. Make it a more artful way of selecting the teams so whoever gets HOH isn't able to just steamroll the whole thing. Like, divide it randomly at the start. That could screw some people, but shit, it's the final 12 or 14. Like, at that stage, I think you should be able to figure something out if you're a strong enough player. At final 8, or I think it happened on a, what was it? On 24, was it final 10? I
They
think,
had
because it was two groups of 5, right?
Kyle, DJ Showtime, Turner, Alyssa, and Joseph. So yeah, it was final 10.
Yeah, that's already pushing it because it's hard to maneuver in a group of 5 with an HOH and a veto. Like, it kind of just comes down to who wins that veto is going to be able to decide what happens that week. So that's about it. I mean, I think 26's twists destroy 25's. I don't think there's much of a debate there. The only reason you could say 25 is better is if you're fundamentally against the AI arena, which I'm not. I'm not there yet.
I like that the AI arena is also pretty equitable competitions too. I talk trash about the
Relatively
AI arena
speaking, for
because
sure.
it's like the bane of my existence, but like it was cool to see more equitable competitions. It felt like a double eviction every week. It was just it sucked for me personally because the two people I wanted out in the game,
Yeah.
Mackenzie and Tucker, are like Russian asset super soldiers with bionic arms. Like, I don't know what to do. These guys, like, it's crazy.
In the moment you're the target, they take it away.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. I wish I would have been able to cook chemo in the AI arena.
Okay, moving outfits. Here's the deal, Quinn. I want you to tell me your favorite and least favorite.
Okay. Here's my real observation. We have too many dupes here, okay?
Interesting.
Your outfit, you have dark pants on, but you
Sure.
have like the same type shirt, I don't know what it's called,
Mm-hmm.
as this guy right here.
He wears it
And
different
then we
though. Look at
have
that.
like,
We got so much chest. He's chesty.
that's true. But then it's like, this is a horrible move-in outfit. This is crazy. From a fashion standpoint, I hate that they did this to Felicia. This
I mean,
is insane.
it is the epitome of like a Felicia outfit. Like, she wore those 24/7, but it is like a weird move-in fit.
Yes. It just feels very like safe, especially like Riley is wearing nice top with light wash jeans.
Yeah.
Kirsten has a nice top with light wash jeans. He looks like he's 8 years old. Like, this is insane.
Where's his lunchbox?
He is wearing the same exact thing as Matt, except for he has a Hawaiian button up over it. Which,
Sure.
this isn't even the craziest thing. My mom hates khaki and gray put together. So that's a crime in itself in the Martin residence. But Jag has swag. I like Blue's pants. She's in the back. This blue with green and red is a bit crazy. Red looks phenomenal.
Yeah,
This is
he's
great.
playing into his thing.
Yeah, it's like, I just feel like my commentary is that it's hard to read the archetypes. Mimi looks great. Mimi's fit is phenomenal. But it's just hard to read into the archetypes here versus we have such a diverse look here. We have a lot of 70s inspired with Cam and what's his bucket? Joseph. But like, we have various looks versus this. That's my commentary on it, you know?
So here's my thoughts. I think Jag's killing it. He's a stylish guy in general. I think it becomes a little bit less stylish when you realize he has this same thing in every color, and he just kind of like rotates which Hawaiian / turban combo he wears. But he looks great. I think Jared's is one of my favorite because it's just a t-shirt. Like, really, this is what they landed on? Like, he's just a dude.
I just know it was super stressful for him picking out his clothes that was getting approved by production. So he went, fuck it. Does this pink shirt work? And then they looked at it and they're like, that's perfect. We love it. Like, I just know that's what happened.
Someone in chat asked, like, do they pick your clothes? No, but yes. Like, you give them a lot of options and they tell you which ones they want. And if they don't like any of your options, they'll be like, do you have this? So for me, they were very pissed I didn't have, like, blue jeans and a flannel because I think they wanted me to be like a lawyery, nerdy kid, and I just didn't. This is what I had. This is like my nerdiest kind of fit. So they kind of landed on this. I think Izzy killing the game. I think this is like very archetype, wacky shirt, like very iconic. Red is what it is. For me, the best. I have two, and I know my chat's gonna hate this. Bowie, easy. Bowie just is a fire fit.
Bowie looks great. I
Um,
like Bowie's look.
and I do like Matt's fit from the sense of like they're just trying to show off the body. Like they said wear as little clothes as you reasonably can, and I think that is like fits the archetype.
That's so crazy. I'm just imagining me getting to the hotel, and if they told me I had to wear I would refuse. I would refuse. I'd be like, you can't do this to me. And they'd be like, what? And I'd be like, you can't get away with this. Like
Yeah.
my fit, they made me wear the black turtleneck. Normally I like to wear the white turtleneck with this outfit. And that's what I did for casting. But they made me wear the black because they thought it would look better against the house. T-Core looks so good. We didn't really see this outfit much more, but like the bell bot, like this is a great look. I didn't trust Lisa for a second in these pants. I was calling Matt Cowboy Ken. Like I felt like everyone had such a strict identity. Like the most boring fits from my moving group are Cedric and Kenny. And Kenny just looks like a dad. Like
yeah, I mean, honestly, how I evaluate moving fits, dude, is like how iconic are they? I think Joseph's shirt. Instantly, I see it and I'm like, oh, that's a Joseph shirt. It's also a Monty shirt. Also, I have that shirt, so I know where he got it.
I love that shirt.
Cam, just because the picture of his house guest photo, iconic fit. Tucker's shirt, iconic. Rubina's, Brooklyn, and just orange in general. I think that's her thing. This department, I don't really care about, frankly, but I do think yours has more like memorable, bits.
I felt so bad that Leah had to compete in this. like we knew vaguely, like they told us in the house that we're about to like do a competition, and I was looking around and I was like, this does not help my ability to lie here. Of like, this wasn't great. These pants are. I'm not the most mobile in them, but it's more mobile than.
There's levels to it. Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like we were cooking in the move-in department.
Yeah.
Is chat agreeing with me?
We need one good category. We need one good category. All right, what do we got next? Feeds. Okay. Shout outs to whoever made this thumbnail. I got this from a YouTube video. Is he tripping more than Felicia? The answer, probably. I think this is the first department where 25 wipes out 26 because the first half of 25's feeds are better than the entirety of 26's feeds. And I think that's just a result of, again, the problem of the season of having Siri, Jared, and Izzy also led to an insane, legitimately, and this is why I get a little bit frustrated. People are like, oh my God, Big Brother 25 fell off after jury. In fairness, our jury started day 72. So we gave you 71 decent days of feeds. Like, it's pretty good. And I think in general, the gameplay was so much more chaotic. There were so many more active players. I know, like, using the length of live feed update isn't a super valuable heuristic because like RHAP and Big Brother, they're not interchangeable. Like one is its own thing. But you just look at the length that it took Taryn and his guests to cover things on 25 versus 26. It's like watching two different shows. I think there is an argument against BB25 feeds, to be fair. And that one is things were ickier. There was a lot of moments that were like, this is weird to watch, and I would prefer to gouge my eyes out than engage in, camera 2. But if the beauty of Big Brother is you could turn it off whenever you want. So, like, I don't care about that as much as other people might, but I think this is finally might be a point in BB25's column.
1,000,000%. Our feeds were not good. From what I've heard, there's like experiences that I had that I felt like were pretty like wild, and then like my perception of people and how I thought they would be seen completely wrong. And I'm like, wait, what do you mean? You what? And so I've heard that our feeds were cut every 20 seconds.
Yeah.
I had a lot of people on my season that loved to take naps during the days, like during the daytime. And what that means is like, there's no conversations happening during the day, which is like not very much fun. We got, people were allowed to nap. Like that's a pretty wild thing. And then I don't know. I think you guys cook us. I don't even think it's a competition.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of people who would, again, if you're really kind of fixating on the idea that BB25 had so many like problematic moments, which is a very fair thing. It's not fun to watch shitty people do shitty things. I just think you have to keep in mind that 26 was much more trigger happy with cutting the feeds any moment that could theoretically be interpreted as problematic, or maybe it just was problematic. No accusations or anything. It just like, I don't think you can be like, well, BB26 was better because everyone is perfect. Like that's, I think you have to use context of like BB25, if they cut the feed of Luke saying the N-word, he still said the N-word, right? That doesn't make it a better, less problematic season. I think that's important to note. The last thing I want to say about like the feeds in general, a lot of people enjoy seasons like Big Brother 23, where it's a lot more fun and they're playing games and they're doing charades. And then 26, you guys are playing Mafia and there's young Cedric. And if that's what you want out of feeds, 26 crushes 25. We didn't have that much fun. Like it was kind of a very tense vibe, all but like maybe the unreliables every now and then. So like that is something that I think 26 does beat 25 in. I just don't give a shit at all personally.
And you guys get the flashback feature. I do wish that they had that just because more moments would be captured on Twitter as someone who scrolls the hashtag like pretty religiously. I was disappointed to find out that like fun conversations and stuff like that, or people missed it. And it's just like, that sucks. Like you should be allowed to rewind. Like that's not that controversial. Like, hello, but it is what it is. Let's talk episodes, baby.
First of all, we have so fucking many in BB25. We're like 43 episodes of some shit. For no reason. I think the chaotic nature of the gameplay and the feeds and everyone playing so hard made it so it's impossible to tell a clear story of what's happening. So they have to default to the most simple narrative. And the simple narrative on BB25 is so much more boring than reality, whereas 26, a lot of the big pivotal moments were very TV friendly. And I think as a result, also because the speed at which people were playing, they were able to more authentically tell the story of what's happening.
I agree with that. I think Jag looks sick as hell in this picture. He looks so cool right now.
I'm so bitter. I asked so many times to go into DR with America. So many times.
Man.
And they were like, we just don't quite do that. Then I hear in jury that they went in their fucking aprons. I was like, oh, I see where the season's going. Uh-oh.
Hey, in the same day, Leah and I went into the diary room together. They yelled at us to leave. We're respectful people, so we left. And we're like, oh, sorry. We leave. I then find out that same night, Tucker and Rubina went into the diary room together.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
That's crazy. I was like, yo, this shit is so rigged, bro. I was like, what else does he need? Does he need the key to my car? Like, dude, like,
we usually should favor
he can take my debit
showmans.
card. When I vote him out pre-jury, you can give him my debit card, let him run up the bill, because I guess we're just letting anyone do anything, you know? It's crazy.
Tucker would have done a podcast in jury.
They would have given Tucker weed in the jury house. I know that's true.
Hey, who's to say they don't give us weed in jury?
Me.
Yeah, me neither. I wish.
We asked for crack. I was like, listen, I've always wanted to experiment with crack, you know. I'm just kidding. But
Can I tell you a story,
think that was a funny bit. Yeah, I was like, one crack, please.
Big Brother 25. It's before the finale. We're all in the hotel, those last couple days. And we get 2 drinks a night. And it's like, oh, that's lit. 2 drinks. You can't really get, like, faded, but you could maybe get tipsy depending on what the drink is. They bring out some Cutwaters for us. That's what we asked. I never had one before. They're like 13% cocktails in a can, basically. And I legitimately got close to, like, blacking out alone in my hotel room watching the other guys weighing Matt versus Jag in my head. And I'm not saying it had an impact on the vote for the winner, but I can't confirm that it didn't. I think there might have been a role played by those Cutwaters.
Enough time has passed. I think we're in the clear. When Chemo came into the house, it was like the party had started. Chemo was like gasoline to the flames. We weren't even talking game anymore because it was like I was outnumbered, so I couldn't discuss game anymore. We're out in the hot tub until like 2 in the morning, drinking glasses of wine. Angela doesn't really drink, so she had her 2 glasses. T-Core doesn't really drink, so she had her 2 glasses that we were splitting between the 3 of us. And a family of raccoons walked through the backyard and were cupping their little hands, drinking water from the pool. And we were all like, what the heck is going on? Like, we were having the time of our lives. It's now like 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, and we're on 10 right now. We are hyped up. We're like, we want to watch It Too on Netflix, which is a 2-hour movie. And within seconds, we all fell asleep because we were so sloshed. Like, we were like, this is the best movie ever. We didn't watch It 1. We only watched It 2. We're like, let's go. 2 seconds in, we're...
Shout outs to Siri. I think Siri was our chemo. Not in terms of, like, the party starts when Siri shows up, but Siri has... whatever mist Siri has in the game, it also translates to the handlers. And we started getting a little bit extra of that boxed wine. And all you need is a little bit extra to push you over the edge. So shout outs to Siri. She'll always have that. I'll always appreciate and respect her for that. Okay, so episodes. 26 is better than 25. There's no debate here. There's no metric by which 25 is better, except I have one. Your 2-day premiere was dog shit, stupid, terrible, because we watched the same episode twice. And it was like,
yeah. It's so bad to binge because you get Ainsley's whole spiel within like twice within a couple of episodes. It's so bad. I agree. I didn't like that.
Can I ask you a genuine question? I don't think I've ever asked you this. Do you think there was any rigory going on in terms of deepfake HOH versus America's Veto and who got what?
No.
Because I think, like, if I'm production and you could make sure, like, at least you get a choice between 2 people of who gets the deepfake HOH, that makes you feel a little bit more comfortable. It's not going to fall into bad hands. But, like, it felt extremely beyond arbitrary in terms of who was eligible for a game-breaking power and who was eligible for, like, immunity for 1 week.
Yeah. I just think it's, like, I don't know. Mackenzie at that, like... was Mackenzie like their like 5-star recruit where they're like, we need her to have America's Veto because she's gonna be like perfect? Like, I don't know if they would make that read. I feel like they would probably like, or I guess who competed for it?
I think
Angela,
it would be more
Joseph and
I think
Mackenzie.
It's more of a result of like once it's you and MJ. The choice from the viewer's perspective, obviously, is like, well, Quinn probably would be a bit more fun with the deepfake HOH.
Oh. No, I don't think that they did that, but
yeah,
that's a great theory. I like that. Mods, go ahead and do /poll here. Who was better in the diary room, me or Cory? Yeah, go ahead and run that. Feel free to use your channel point.
I mean, look, this is another kind of like America's Veto type vote where like you've got probably much more haters about your diary rooms. Whereas I've got a lot more lukewarms about my diary rooms. You know what I mean?
I guess. I think mine are just so hilarious. I think I'm so funny. I'm not kidding. When I rewatched for this season, or I guess watched it for the first time, every time I was in the diary room, I was like nodding along. I was like, this guy's spitting right now.
Well, unironically, though, and people are voting me, a bit of bias. It's in my chat. Also, my DRs are awesome. But more importantly, like, I think 26 has better confessionalists than 25. As much as I did not really enjoy watching certain house guests, I did not love watching Chemo on the feeds. I liked him a lot in the DR. I liked MJ a lot in the DR. I liked Cam a lot in the DR. I liked Joseph in the DR. Like, I think Big Brother 25 had way more like Bowie was not giving anything because she thought they'd leak her secrets, which I don't think is the craziest thing. Like, I don't believe it, but I get it.
Yeah.
Matt was a non-entity in the DR. Jag was at best baseline, you know. Felicia Suri knocked it out of the park. America got a lot more comfortable as the season went on and I think became a really good confessionalist. I think I was good but a little bit rehearsed. Blue was Blue. Like, I think it was just a much more mixed bag, especially with the people who made it deep.
Yeah. Bro. That's all time. That's all time. That was sick. I thought that was dope. Bro. Get him. But
I think my favorite Quinn is Big Dogs Eat. ho ho. I think that is by far the best confessional you've got.
What's so funny is I did that so many times. I had no idea when that was referenced. It would be like I loved going to the diary room because I would have the most earth-shattering, worst situation going on for me out there, and I'd just be like, "This is great. we're doing it. We're in Big Brother." Like,
you were so physical in there, which I appreciated. It was like the big dogs eat, and then you went like, whoo, whoo, kind of like going into the camera. I'm like, oh my God. Because I know that room. You know there's another person on the other side of that window just staring at you doing this shit. You didn't care. You're like, eh, whatever.
I love it. I had so much fun in there. I think that it was also like my comfortability was, I feel even like the night I got evicted where it was like, these people, I love the people in my house. They're like family, whatever. I was more devastated getting voted out that I wasn't going to get to talk to the DR people. I had my birthday in the jury house, and I was begging for the diary room people to come by for my birthday party. I was like, please, please, please. They can have like, you know, cameras rolling so you know nothing's being given out. Let me hang out with my friends. Like, so I think that's why I was so.
I had a much more adversarial relationship, I think, in the DR. I liked my. I think everyone has like a DR point person who's like their person who usually talks to them. I think mine, I felt like I had beef with, not in like any serious way, where I was just like, I don't know if I agree with how some of these things went. So I can't say I was like, please bring them to jury, please.
You're like Joseph telling him like, yo, you got to stop calling me in here. I'm trying to play the game.
That's so funny. I mean, Cam was whining on the feeds. He's like, I just won the veto this week, and I've been in the DR once.
Dude, yeah.
I'm like, poor guy.
They forgot him. One time they straight up forgot, and then he brought it up. 10 minutes passes, and then they're like, Cam, come to the diary room. We're like, wow, they're just doing this to throw him a bone. Like,
yeah, it was. We all were like, oh my God, he's starting to strategize because he wants DRs. What do we got next, Gwen? What's the next category? First boot fan cam. This is an important one.
This is America's vote. This is on you, chat.
Yeah, I'll set up the poll.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I was trying to hit this. I guess I could take one too. I don't think I could take much more. It ain't right if I fake what's true. If I looked in the mirror and saw your ass, I probably would hate me too. I go pedal tomato, this car go fast. She like when I make that room. She's like, yeah, to make this money.
It's so funny when like you get people who are like early boots and they get fan cams, and the only thing they can show is pictures of their still face because there's no like vetoes or HOHs or nominations or voting or anything.
Yeah. They're like, okay, so what do we have? We have him sliding, and they didn't edit in at one point, so like we had to collect the little slidey things with our names on them for that first one. It was like a disco like dance floor is what we were sliding it on. Matt goes up there and he like dropped it into this dance spin move, and it was such a good dance move that Tucker thought that Matt was a stripper. That's how good of a dancer he was. And I was like, if they included that, people would have.
Yeah. That would have swung this vote at the very least. You should have to click one more time. Next slide. Okay, here we go. Like just like as it's going, just click on the screen anywhere but the YouTube video. It'll get you to the next slide. Gwen, look at me. Click right now on Matt's nose. And now click anywhere other than the YouTube video.
Yeah.
It's like that black square next to it.
Yeah, I was trying to hit this.
Okay, there we go. There we go. That was a nightmare. I didn't want to hit escape, and it like, all right. And now here's your first boot.
Second boot.
I see the whole decision.
Give it Them got no one that back calling me splurge. Let me jump right off the curb. Make the spread fly like a bird. Spin on the first and the third.
I mean, this is not I think this is going to be a landslide. Yeah, it's looking rough. I'm telling you, Kirsten was a massive... Honestly, I think Kirsten and Matt had a lot more to give character-wise. And I think we lost out.
Her camera talks were like filled to the brim with this confidence and like that I wish we would have seen it more. If like I don't want to say delusional because I don't know Kirsten at all, but it was like she was ready to go on day one, and I thought that was great.
Yeah,
Don't forget the Failings 5.
What sucked about Kirsten and just like the way it worked out was like I think she was made to look like the worst player of all time, and I don't think she would have been good, but she wasn't like much worse than anyone else. Like she was just the one who got caught first, and Jared and Siri decided she was going home, and that was just it. So like, I don't, I think her circumstances fucked her pretty bad, but she was very fun. Now here's a department where it wasn't good. I think. Here's the credit that I'll give to BB25 comps. This one was cool. It was cool to be on this little cute set. I think from a comp design and a comp outcomes perspective, BB25 is amongst the worst seasons ever. I will say there's some high highs though. Double Eviction HOH is a knockout. Those are always a blast. I think Escape the Nether Region was fun, and I think the Pressure Cooker was a real fucking like moment in the Big Brother community of like, forget about how it all got nullified. At least it happened to Cameron, so that's fine. It was just awesome. Like, everyone was so pumped up, and I think it didn't disappoint. Like, it was a great competition. So, like, it's not like it was all shit. It just got to the stage in that second half of the game where every single competition was a timed version of put these things in some order, and it was just too easy for Jag to run the table there.
They nailed it with the like that genre of going back and forth, and it's all about speed. They nailed it with that egg competition when we saw full cheek from you. Like,
dude, that
they
was
nailed
so
it. They
physical.
didn't need to do that genre again. The one thing on BB26 that sucked was we had the same competition like 3 times, where it was like animal obsession was the same exact thing as sound bites. And then we watched Ding Cam. It's like, these are 3 competitions. I think Ding Cam is the best version of that, where you watch the clips and you remember the order of everything. But it was like, we got 3 memory comps that were like exactly the same that I feel like we could have done without. But we got Hide and Go Veto. You guys got Pressure Cooker, which is pretty iconic. But we got Hide and Go Veto. So, but this like the fact you guys have a squad pick at your competition is cool as hell. Like, they knew they were cooking.
I think one of the things that I would beg of BB production, and honestly, I think they've been listening more and more. Like, we did get equitable comps in 26 relative to 25, at least as equitable as you can make comps. Well, there's always more equitable, but they did a better job. I just think with mental comps and quizzes specifically, you have to find ways to start testing different skills, because every single one at this point is quickly interpreting information and hitting a button. That is all these mental comps, whether it's a knockout, whether it's a booth comp, they're all the fucking same. What I would like is fun things of like, hey, every house guest answered a survey, and you're trying to pick the most popular. And they've done a ton of these in like past seasons. Just go copy those. Just something other than looking at a screen quickly and hitting A, B, or C. It's just lame.
It's not fun. This competition was great, by the way. It was, and I don't. How did you feel about your costumes throughout your season for competitions?
I think hit or miss. I think they did a pretty good job for the most part. It did get to a point in the season where they just gave up on costumes, though. Like, and it felt like Final 7 on, it was just like normal clothes, because like the competitions they were less themed, so like there was less of a reason to dress up as whatever the hell Kenny's dressed up as.
I feel like Big Brother 26's like wardrobe, it felt like they were adhering to like thirst traps and fan cams, because the outfits that we wore were so dope. Like recharging T-Core, that's the one that Tucker won, where they have the glow in the dark thing. The entire goal of that was to make everyone look hot, and they nailed it. Like, I remember I just kept Cedric, he had this vest on and he's like shredded, and I was just like, this is crazy. I was like, this is a family program. This dude, it looks crazy right now. He's so hot. And so I do love that my season, it felt like the wardrobe's entire goal was to make us look good. I appreciated that.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'll give 25 a bit more credit. America's listing some. We had unitards, which is a classic. That was very fun. We had our football jerseys with shoulder pads. Was a really good time. We had the kind of like construction painter outfits for OTEV, where I obviously wore that one quite a bit. So like, good.
Those are better than ours. the paint and the fit. You all looked much better in yours than we did in ours.
Yeah, yours is more like a. If we're thinking the same ones, like you guys were like kind of garage auto workers.
Yeah, we were
was
like
kind of the vibe.
mechanics.
Yeah, which I think was a little bit less good. Just to elevate BB26 a little bit more, the comps were really good. The endurance comps were, I think, a lot more fun. The wall is a problem. The wall, I'm a firm believer in get rid of the fucking wall. Like, people are like, bring it back to what it used to be. That'd be better, I guess. But, like, I'm just over it. I don't know why it's an iconic comp at this point.
It needs to benefit the smaller people. Like, it's not fair that someone like Tucker, where most competitions adhere to his body type, you know, the big buff guy. It's weird that we have another competition that does that when it was like there was a competition with a different type of athlete was able to succeed. You're not allowed to crouch anymore. But it's like, well, crouching strictly benefited the short people in the game. Like, I wish it was more equitable and not designed to end early.
The easiest way to do it is just make the wall easier. Like, it just doesn't have to tilt that much. Like, the whole point is it should be a test of endurance, not a test of strength. And, like, Quinn, I know you wanted that more than anyone else on the cast, right?
Yeah.
And that should mean more than it did. For me, I wanted my wall desperately, and I'm much worse just physically at the wall. At least at that point, I was really not. I was malnourished, weak,
I was
never
just
went to
saying,
the
you
gym.
were shriveling up, brother.
Like, I wanted it so bad. We just blindsided Izzy. I gotta beat Jared, and I lost by like 20 minutes because I just am not strong enough. Like, I think that's the problem with it. But in general, I think my big notes: do more comps that people play at the same time. You know, less 1x1 timed comps. And this is gonna sound very specific. Give me more fucking stacking comps. They never miss.
This
Ever.
is fun. This is great.
Stacking's fire. It's always fun.
It was incredible because Kenny's approach to this is by far, maybe he and I just use the same like part of our brain. This is the most obvious answer. And he was the only one doing it. Brooklyn got second in this, and instead of having 3 of the circles, she was like balancing the 2. And I was like, you know what? That's still closer to what the game designer wanted versus like at one point Lisa had the smallest little thing with the biggest plate. It made no sense. It was incredible.
Cam's ice cream cone people are talking about, so funny.
That would, oh my god, that's one of my favorite. And we'll see it later. But this is fun for Zingbot's songs.
Yeah, there's a direct competition.
Your name is so patriotic. It makes me want to sing a song the whole country can get behind. Cory's not beautiful under any skies. Short
It's weird to watch.
like a piece of cream. A thin mustache. If you call
good one.
it that, it causes my eyes pain. America, America.
Just trying so hard to keep a straight face. I couldn't.
lobotomy?
This is crazy. What he says next is crazy.
Tiny man.
Not this.
His words are
Not this.
damn.
This.
Let's throw him in the sea.
Let's
kill him!
execute him. What the fuck?
Let's
Okay,
kill this guy.
Keep
Who's
on.
with
So,
me, chat? Let's throw him overboard.
basically, here's I love this Zing. I think it's a good time. I think it was fun. I think fuck it. I'll leave my opinion for once we see Angela's because I think that's really the point on it.
America. Your
He's got it.
name is
There we go.
There you go.
Okay, hopefully it does what I hope it will.
You can just skip to it. It's
It
fine.
didn't.
Good morning, human.
But unfortunately, you don't have a prayer with oldie.
Oh no.
Check it out. Angela is melting down, melting down, melting down. Angela is melting down. Can't stop crying. Obsessed with men half her age.
That's
half
crazy.
her age, half her age. Obsessed with men half her age.
Crazy eyes.
So creepy. What's the proof
Look, I think Angela does struggle from it just being the
Literally,
second
fuck off.
one. And there's been more songs than just mine, but like 2 years in a row. I also think mine was much meaner, which I think is the goal, you know?
Did it like this did psychic damage to Angela? I talked about it on a TikTok live, so no one has to clip this because we've already had this discussion. But like Angela was pestering like PAs, asking for like questions about the edit, which we were explicitly told not to.
Sure.
Being like, do I come off as a crybaby? Do I come off as like a crybaby? Like, was I crying too much? And I think it's a direct result because it happened right after she was evicted.
Yeah,
so
no,
it's like, I'm like, it did psychic damage, but I think yours is more lyrically like hurtful.
Yeah, I think it's more like clever. I guess it's silly because it's all like playground insults, but I think it's a little bit more clever. And I was extremely happy and relieved when I got this zing because I thought, oh, I'm probably a pretty significant character in the grand scheme of the season. Like I feel like I'm being highlighted here as like the zing. I think Angela, to anyone in that house, it was pretty obvious she was in that role.
We knew she was gonna get a song. We knew she would get a song.
So like, I don't know. I think it's preference. I think mine's more fun. But what do you think, Quinn?
I do prefer yours. I also think that the setting is much more fun. I like that they combined OTEV and Zingbot. So all of you being outside, like that kind of added to it for the
It was
like
a cute
effect.
idea.
But I think that the song's lyrics, they said that, Zingbot wants to kill you, throw you overboard. You will drown. There's no chance. So it feels like a better song.
I also think in general,
obsessed
like,
with the men half your age is so crazy. Like what? She had a crush on Cam.
Okay. Let's be real too.
Who doesn't?
Matt is obsessed with women twice his age, right? Like it goes both ways with those two.
Yeah.
So like, it's fine.
It's like, no one's trying to throw the C over Cory. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. But I think in general, 25 has better zings, in my opinion. I mean, we have Cerise, which is pretty funny about isolated on an island. Cam being a major fucking tool is funny. I think America's is pretty good. The robbing the cradle. And the rest of them are kind of forgettable. But I think for 26, this one was super memorable, and then Chelsea's killed me.
I really liked, I just watched this episode, Mackenzie's, this big creature with terrible teeth and nasty feet, and her name's Mackenzie or something like that. I was like, that's kind of funny. Like,
I mean, it's just weird because she's like conventionally attractive. Like, it didn't make sense to me.
She always had her dogs out. Does chat know what I'm talking about? It would be like eviction night, and the camera would straight up. She'd be like, "Oh, you're trying to get the dogs right now?" And the camera would go and zoom in on her toes.
I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
It was incredible. I was like, I keep my socks on,
Yeah, please.
Nothing for free.
You're a man of class. Let's be real. All right, what do we got next? The pre-jury. We talked about a bit of this. I think 26 and 25 had pretty elite pre-juries. I think 25's is pretty significantly better just because we didn't have Kenny's, Angela's, and Lisa's to take up spots on the block. Like, it was always a very chaotic, who's going on the block first of all, what's happening with the veto, who's getting evicted, and while it resulted in a unanimous vote basically every time, the journey towards that is crazy. And I think what's beautiful about, and I'll wax poetic for a second, about the 25 pre-jury, it was, if it's a play in 2 acts, this is a complete first act in terms of Suri, Izzy, and Jared rise to power, have this entire power structure. Along the way, they're making a ton of mistakes, just keeping the wrong people, sending home the wrong people, ending in this like crescendo of a massive blow up, a fight, a flip, the kind of dynasty falling down, followed up by a quick redemption arc. Jared wins HOH. Like, in a slasher movie, like in Scream, like the killer has one last, like, gets up, and then ending with the double eviction, of course. So, like, if you consider that the first act of BB25, it's pretty awesome. The problem is, like, Zombie Week's also pre-jury, technically, and the Final 10's pre-jury. So, like, there's problems for sure. But I think, like, thematically, it was really, really good. And just the day-to-day experience of watching the BB25 pre-jury was There's not many seasons like it.
I agree. I like your pre-jury. Our pre-jury, like the most exciting it happens at the end going into like the jury where it was like we lost Cedric. That's a pretty crazy vote.
Yeah.
We lost Tucker in like a genuinely like fun, like crazy moment of me and Chelsea. Like Chelsea did a lot of legwork but was doing such a good job that like it wasn't getting back to Tucker, which took a lot of finesse. And then I like the moment of me, like as a player, I felt like the pre-jury was very cool, but I feel like as a viewer, we had Kenny, Lisa, Matt was a pretty crazy like situation, but as a player, me talking to Chelsea before the like halfway party, like right beforehand, and we agree, and then I getting to soak in this party, looking at Tucker going, if you don't win tomorrow, your ass is grass. And like that to me felt epic, but it's just because I'm a player. I feel like as a viewer, BB25 has us beat,
Yeah, it just depends on what you value. Like if you like the 26 AI Arena dramatic live episodes, that's very valid. Those episodes were awesome. The Cedric boot and the Joseph boot are two of my favorite episodes of Big Brother I've ever watched. And 25, even if it wanted to, couldn't match it. We had a good double eviction that was kind of ruined. We had a good live HOH with Cam winning that was really dramatic. But like, it just doesn't compare to the emotional highs and lows of 26. And like, let's be real. Kenny and Lisa were dealt with pretty quick, and then you guys had like 7 more weeks of pre-jury. There was a point in your season that was like, if you zoom out, it looked like the coolest game ever. It was like, okay, you got the Pentagon, and then you got this like frenzy side of things. You got T-Core and Chemo kind of in the middle, and Tucker with all these antics, and Angela, and like it was a super, super dynamic, interesting like flow of everything. But the day-to-day, even at that stage of the game, was so much slower than 25. So if you're really in there for like the heady, strategic, nonstop, everyone freaking out gameplay, that's 25, and there's no argument there. But big picture, episodes-wise, I don't think that's close either. Like that's 26 every, and there's no real flaws. Like there's things to critique, but like at the end of the day, 26 doesn't have the lows of 25 in the pre-jury.
I think that the difference between 25 and 26 is that the AI Arena like manufactured these moments versus you just had crazy people. Like Izzy was playing, like it reminded me of like the Flintstones in their car where like they're moving their feet so much. And that's what I feel like describes their gameplay of, flipping on Heisum and stuff like that. That's very exciting. Where our flippage comes from this format, like this metric or like this piece of the game. And so for that, I feel like you have us beat because otherwise we just take out the trash of like Kenny, Lisa, Angela, Mackenzie, and Tucker. That is like the first 5 boots guaranteed as long as like the AI Arena doesn't exist.
I agree. And JC in the chat, JC, where's the minions? Said Crazy Eyes, Cedric flip, Angela versus Lisa, Quinn versus Tucker, Tucker's eviction. These are all excellent moments. I just think like it becomes very clear to me who is like more so a feeds watcher versus an episodes watcher, and everyone in these kinds of chats generally keeps up with the feeds at the very least. Like there's not too many dedicated casuals here, but like those moments by themselves are awesome. There's no debating any of them. Some of the highest highs I've seen in Big Brother. There's just the 23 hours and 40 minutes other than that in that day where the feeds are just dead all the time. And that was just a difference between the two houses pre-jury, and it just comes down to preference in terms of what you care about. And I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. But let's get to the post-jury, because this is where there is a right answer. I think BB25's like post-jury is like, what if BB26, Chemo, T-Core, and Rubina ran the table? It's just a bummer. The inequitable comps, even like the big moments of like me getting blindsided, Cameron getting backdoored, Blue getting blindsided, we're all like ruined in one way or another. There was nothing satisfying that happened the whole time. You're just rooting for an America HOH, a Suri HOH, a Felicia HOH. It's never going to come. Bowie's acting against her own self-interest to give Matt and Jag the win. You don't even get the satisfying moment of Matt or Jag cutting the other. Like, I think the best thing that the BB25 like post jury has going for it, like the only thing you could even argue is like everyone was playing for the win and campaigning for things, whereas 26 simply didn't have that. Like there was a majority of people on the block not trying to stay, but I think it's a hard argument to make for 25.
It's like, I feel like talking about this, the drama of who to keep comes from these three in the post jury, where they're trying to figure out what they want, because it's like when Chemo, when Rubina gets saved, it's like a result of their decision making. It's not like we get a clip of Chemo advocating for himself. It's just like, he's like, man, I'd love to stay, but what can you do? It's crazy. Rubina on the block, like next to T-Core. It's like, that's not exciting. I tried really, really hard. I compiled a campaign. I really gave it, I feel like everything I had, and it still didn't matter. The knock against this post jury is Bowie looked us in the eyes post double eviction W, and she said the phrase, "This is so scary," and proceeded to put up Felicia in a, imagine she would have how many mother edits does Bowie Jane get if she goes, "This is so scary"? Matt and Jag, please find yourself. Put your tookies on the chair there, mate. I'm sold.
Hey, we don't. Shout outs to Denub for the sub and Survivor Desi. I think there's something that 26 has, 25 doesn't, and it's moments of hope. Leah winning the final 8 HOH was such an exciting moment because everyone wanted it to happen. She was talking about putting up T-Core and Chelsea, and it was like, holy shit, what is happening? We have these two sides, and the one person not on the side wins. And her HOH, I think, is a little bit like criticized too much. Like it was fine. Getting rid of T-Core was a valuable thing.
She got out T-Core. That's like money because T-Core.
And it was the wrong move, like for sure. There was one correct target and she missed it, but it wasn't a disaster. It was fine. And then MJ targeting Leah was crazy. Like that was an insane week.
Watching this happen, like post jury, Chelsea. I've been saying it, top 5 most dominant winners. I love Chelsea's game. I think that she really showed off the amount of control that she had, because it was like Rubina and Chemo are like, man, we love Chelsea, even though she is very clearly at the center of all of this. We get more Cam. Cam is hilarious. This trio's like interpersonal drama of Cam's not winning competitions. Like, I like my post jury because it feels like the person who worked the hardest this summer wins. I love Jag, but it was a result of comp wins. Like,
It's
Chelsea,
a massive difference. Yeah. Watching a steamroll from what you view as like one of the most dominant players ever versus watching a steamroll from, I think there's a debate of if Jag's a good player. And I would say yes, but like it's certainly a debate, right? And it just leaves a better taste in your mouth watching like some boring weeks of Chelsea dominating versus like Jag basically being able to like hold the carrot out for Suri. It just feels wrong because like these are not equal players. And even like when I'm being blindsided, it just like it came from a place of comps as opposed to a place from whatever Chelsea had going on, which it should be said. Final 7 HOH was MJ. Final 6 was Chelsea. Final 5 was MJ. Was it? No, it was MJ, right? Final
MJ
4 was Chelsea, and then final 3 was MJ.
Yes,
yeah, it literally went Chelsea and MJ for the last 5 HOHs.
That sucks, obviously. But also, I guess if Rubina wins HOH, she puts up Mackenzie and Cam. As long as Chelsea doesn't die in that situation, I'm like, this is exciting TV. But I needed Chelsea and Mackenzie to win as a juror. I'm sure you can relate to this. I was like, yo, I need us to have a good winner. Like, I need a good winner, please, please, please.
Yeah.
And Chelsea was just such an obvious answer that I found hope every single time. I was like, yeah, are they steamrolling? Sure, but it's at least the people I want to win. So that I'm biased in that, you know.
Yeah, no, I agree. And there was drama associated with that because it was MJ making the wrong move every time she got HOH, which was very interesting to watch, and there was a lot to discuss. And Chelsea in the final three, you know, that whole dynamic was very interesting with the three of them. Of like, are there two players who are going to pick Chelsea to go to the end with and lose unanimously? Is that happening, or is that what we're watching? And the answer was yes. So like, I think again, just not much to talk about. Let's go to the next category. Like strategy. This is a brief conversation because everything we've touched on has elements of this. I'm just curious, Quinn. I think the biggest like criticism of 26 and especially Chelsea's win is that the players sucked. Do you think there's a meaningful difference between like the strategic capabilities of 25 versus 26 in the casts?
I don't know. It felt like them flipping on Heisem, right? Like they were trying to discern, like, I don't know. It just really hurts. The strategy stuff hurts me specifically because I have like me telling T-Core and Chemo about the Pentagon because I want to rock with them. Like that's where I want to go in the game. My own allies are then strategically in no man's land where they're like, you know what this means? We can't trust Quinn anymore, but Brooklyn and Chelsea and Cedric, this is from T-Core, I trust them though. It's like, well, that doesn't make sense. My number one ally, you know, my Snoot's final two, she threw me under the bus every 20 seconds. And it's like, that's not good. Like, you have shooters for you, and like every single time they turn the gun back on their shooters in the name of like this higher elevated like strategy. I don't know. I just understand the game moves more from Big Brother 25 outside of like, you know,
I mean,
Chelsea's
look,
incredible, but
I just think there's just a key difference between the casts of let's compare fourth place finishers of Rubina versus Felicia. Who's the better player? That's the type of question they'd ask on Reddit where I'm like, I don't fucking know. But give me Felicia 100 times out of 100. Let's talk about like Blue versus T-Core. Who's the better player? I think it's T-Core by like a country mile. But Blue was playing really hard, and that's what I enjoy. So I think like, again, was it because of like Siri kind of starting things super fast and Izzy starting things and like everyone had to get into that gear? But like 25, whether they're better or worse, I don't really give a shit. They were just more active, and I think that's just better. And maybe there's AI Arena plays a role in that.
I agree. Cam is a really good. I feel like Cam benefited so much of like the strategy that he would have to follow ended up working out because he was attached to Comp Beast. Like I felt like he did a decent job like navigating it, but it's like, where does the like, you know, like what's the payoff of me saying like Cam's not that bad? Like it doesn't matter. Like I don't know. Look at this. I made this.
I like it. Cam was a logical dude. He like made the right decisions. It just, you look at his game in a whole different lens when you realize he had no chance of winning. So it's like, oh, none of it mattered. Like he was actually not a force at all. He was more Bowie Jane than Matt Klotz, you know?
Yeah.
All right. Well, the edit, I think both edits protect certain house guests. It's every Big Brother edit does the same thing in that regard. I think 26's edit was far more accurate to what actually happened. I think the DR counts were more reasonable on 26 when you look at them. Like, people got... You could, like, pretty accurately predict the order of how many confessionals people got based on their impact on the game. Whereas 25, because the season was so long and there were so many comps, people like Cameron, who partially was being propped up as this AFP candidate, but also was nominated every single time, playing in every comp, always being HOH, always being the target, like... It just created a really, really lopsided edit where Matt and Bowie Jane, who obviously are two of the most important players of the season, they make it to finale night, are not on the show for like 75, 80% of it. The biggest culprit of that is Suri. Obviously, I'm just like, she just ate up so much screen time because of the twist, because of her son, because of Izzy, because of me. Like, she was just like, we had a main character on our season, and I don't think 26 had that. It was an ensemble.
I love this picture.
Such a cute one.
So like what I am jealous about, like with the edit of Big Brother 25, is that people, like, if you know, you know, but like I haven't hidden this at all. Like Tucker wanted to quit a lot.
Yeah.
That is not shown at all in our edit. And that to me is like a little frustrating, because I think that I understand they want to create like their superstar, right? But I don't know. I think there's a lot of nuance, and it's like fascinating that someone who is playing so hard is like, them getting voted out is inconsequential because they never cared, you know?
Yeah.
Like he was talking about getting paid, so that he's like, I've made just enough that I can afford a new dog and I'm ready to go home. And then it's like me, who is like broke. I'm like, that's crazy to hear, and you're saying it to my face. I at least thought that that would be shown, and that there'd be like a nuanced conversation around someone like Tucker, who got a lot of screen time.
Sure.
But they cut the feeds, so it's like so many people weren't aware of him wanting to quit. So that's like really frustrating. I'm just now in the season where Cam is getting absolutely ripped to shreds because he can't win a competition, and it's part of the show. And now every person I meet in real life talks about how useless Cam is.
It's
and I'm
fucked
like,
up. He got a veto. He won something. Most people win nothing.
I know!
That's
Look
crazy.
at this. He's so cute. He did, in the diary room, he did desk pops. You were talking about the other guy. He did a desk pop as a celebration, and they're like, yeah, we probably can't do that one. Let's film something else. But like the edit, I feel like you mentioned this in your discussion with Joseph of like,
yeah,
it was much easier to follow. So like it makes a lot more sense. Like our season does, of like trying to explain everything.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at it. I love our edit because I got a lot of screen time. I got to show off my personality. We get a lot from Chelsea. Like, I think it's so important for the winner to get a lot of screen time, and people understand the winner. I feel like the editors didn't understand what to do with Jag. Having hung out with him in real life, I'm like, man, like, give us this guy on screen, please.
It's just so weird, because I think the biggest difference between the two is like 26's big time players were all good in the DR. I thought Chelsea was super good. MJ was solid. Cam wasn't doing too much, but he wasn't the biggest character. Like, you obviously played a massive role. You were there a lot. Angela played a massive role. I liked Tucker a lot in the DR. He had his way of doing things. Whereas on our season, it's like, Suri's great. Okay. Jag, I think they clocked him as a winner kind of early on our season, to be honest. Like, final 10 on, he's the narrator. And I think he does a decent job, much better than Matt or Bowie could do. But you just had people like Matt and Bowie in the end game who just couldn't give anything. Like, even if they wanted to give these people, you know, more of an edit, and they just weren't willing to.
I think it goes back to like our cast and how like it feels like BB26 is the personality hires. Like Matt cracks me up in the diary room from my season. Like, he's so funny.
He's good.
Lisa is her own brand of craziness. Like, she's perfect.
Too.
Like,
oh my god, some of these early boots are legends in the DR.
yeah, and it's just like I feel like we get so many personality people from my show, or like from my season, that then it's like the edit just is more enjoyable. I would rewatch BB26 right now. Like, if I had to restart, I wouldn't blink twice. I'd be like, yeah, I'm excited to watch this. A BB25 rewatch, I felt like I was chain smoking cigarettes getting ready for BB26, watching BB25. I was like, oh boy, I get to watch my faves get murdered.
There's levels to the behavior they're covering up. Like, covering up quitting, I don't mind as much as like covering up some of the other stuff they're covering up in 25. And some of that happened in 26 too as well. But again, like, we don't know because the feeds were cut so often. But I think it's fair to say that like Tucker's not Cameron. Tucker's not Matt Klotz. Like, he's a fine dude who hated being in the Big Brother house. You know what I mean? So what are you going to do?
Now we have AFP.
This doesn't even fucking matter as a category. Like, we could just zoom through it. I think Tucker was a very obvious out in front, like, forced AFP. So was Cameron, and Cameron is a worse guy than Tucker. So I think this is just fine.
Tucker at least felt like really deserved, because it's like, yeah, he didn't win because he was being crazy. So it's like, you know what? give him the AFP because he played really hard. I guess, like, that's fun. He felt important to the story versus as a viewer who kept up with feeds and stuff. I'm like, Cam, what the fuck? That's crazy. Let's talk BB Comics.
I think, again, you picked probably the two worst BB25 comics. I think 25's comics were utter ass cheeks, and 26 had a couple of really funny ones.
Chelsea, the winner, has a terrible BB comic.
So bad.
I didn't understand. I still, like, you explained it, like, while we were putting this together. I still don't fully, like, I didn't know that this bird existed, So it's like, now, or sorry, yeah. It's like, I'm sorry that I'm not a fish specialist in order to keep up. I feel like the glitter critters, the top 5 most disrespectful things CBS has ever done.
Wait, Kenny's is up there too.
Kenny wanted to quit. Like,
it was pretty funny.
She should have been the glitter bug
they
and
nailed
made her
it.
a cutesy little ladybug.
It's so funny. Come on. It's so funny.
Now let's get into our winners, all right?
I mean, from this picture, I think BB25 has to take it. Woo. I need to, jeez. There's no argument in this department. I think Jag is an underrated winner because of how despised his winning game is, but I think Chelsea is a top 5 winner of all time. And what's more important is how satisfying of a winner is it. Chelsea is the most satisfying. Jag is probably top 5 of jury in terms of most satisfying. So it's like, I don't know.
The thing about Jag is, like, it could have been Matt. Religion confirmed, all right?
No,
it could have been Matt.
Here's the thing. Is MJ a more satisfying winner than Jag? For me, the answer is yes. And it's not due to MJ's playing a better game than Jag. I don't think she did at all. But I just think thematically for the season, like, MJ would have been a fun winner. It's an insane journey. Whereas Jag's was just... It was a little too linear.
That's my winner pick, by the way.
All right, what do you got?
Okay. Okay, thank God these are the last ones. Okay.
Yeah, this is going for a minute. Last final topic.
We're just gonna rank. We could have, or maybe not a rank, but we could just appreciate.
Yeah. Then we'll do some closing thoughts, which will take 2 minutes.
Oh shit! You guys can't see this. This is my worst nightmare.
Just once you open the new tab, stop sharing this screen and start sharing the next one. The same way. This better be Quinn's crockpot pussy speech. That's crazy. Did they do the thing where, like, do you want to practice your speech in the DR? And you're like, hell no.
No, I practiced it. I just didn't include crockpot references.
Got it.
Okay, here we go. Got the audio. Check.
What's our best eviction speech? Ours were all stupid as hell.
Can you add mine?
Yeah, one moment.
Okay, perfect. Here we go. I feel like you 2-8. I feel like you give a...
Thank you, Julie. First off, Stevie, I miss you so much.
Bold choice.
Daddy's coming home.
Thank you,
my
Bowie.
fellow house guests, this has been the most incredible experience of my life, and that is a credit to all of you. So I just want to say thank you. But as a fan of this game, I would be remiss to not blow up at least one person's game. Bowie. I'm just kidding. Jag. I know you're the invisible HOH. I ask all of you to do with that information as you please.
Thank you, America.
Stupid ass
Your
speech.
turn.
Julie, you look stunning.
Thank you.
Mappa, love y'all. I'm okay. To all the Comerica haters and doubters, this is a shout out. Y'all are the winds beneath our wings. Watch us soar. House guests, my pitch is simple. If I stay, I'm going after the Aston moron and the dumb blonde. It's not game strategy at all. It's personal.
That was a fun speech.
Cory, I adore you. I'm so proud of you. It's been an honor to play this game with you. I'm so excited for Wendy's Bacon It or Fries Date.
We did it.
Thank
We
so
did
much
it too.
for being normal.
Oh, sweet.
Thank you,
I think those are
America.
two
Thank
good
you
speeches.
both. All right, everyone.
I
it is
think
now time.
I didn't talk about America because I was like, she's staying. You know what I mean? Like, I think
Yeah.
she gets to keep playing the game. You know what I mean? Like, I think for me it was like the eulogy, so I think that was the difference there. But Quinn, let's see the alternative option because
This is us on our deathbeds, you know?
How scary.
And listen, before anyone says it, I know I stuttered, okay? I was facing death
it
down the
happens. You had,
barrel.
your speech was tough because there was so many different pieces to it that you like. It probably was hard to. We were dying.
I
watching
nailed it.
Quinn.
In the practice segment, I
Yeah.
like nailed it.
You
But-
could watch on our Patreon our reaction to the speech. Quinn killed us. It was so good.
Oh, thanks.
Let's hear it.
Guests, Kangaroo Jack, I want to be here. And it's not because most of you have said this week that you would like to kiss or marry me. It's because this has been a dream of mine since I was super young. From Britney losing her dignity on a hot dog to DJ Showtime talking about a crock pot on Instagram. This light has been a
insane.
light in my life, and I'm so thankful to share it with each and every one of you. In this game, I feel my story parallels that of Icarus, you know, flying so close to the sun and then plummeting to the earth at 12,000 miles per hour. And with each conversation and memory made, I can feel the wind beneath my wings. And my trajectory in this game does change, but the destination is the same. Eviction. Keep me this week so I can go home before
Eviction
you
is
next
so
week.
funny.
Please, thank you. I love you. You're so handsome, and I was named after you in Sliders. Thank you. I yield my time.
Also, changing your speech for the host is badass.
Thank you.
I think the part of your speech that I'm gonna give 25 to win for is you think you might stay, which adds an air of sadness to it, where it's like
Yeah.
it's like, oh, he's also actually campaigning, even though we know it doesn't matter. But I was like, oh,
I thought it was so sick. I'm so mad that I like stuttered in it, but I thought it was so sick to say like, with each conversation and memory made, I can feel the trajectory change, but the destination is the same. Eviction. I thought that was so sick.
That was fire.
I practiced it a million times, and then in the moment, I was like, it was like, I want to be here. Like, I was like, I don't, or not, it wasn't even like, I want to be here. It was like, I don't want to go home. And I was like, so scared of like,
Yeah.
it's over. And I knew that there would be no like battle back. If it was Julie hosting, I was gonna have my hidden immunity idol in that bit, like in the speech, and I was like, and Julie, if it's okay, I'd like you to like
See,
let me
that
play
would've
my
been-
hidden immunity
I think
idol.
you're lucky that didn't happen because that would have been a weird pause, and they'd have people talking in Julie's ear because Julie wouldn't even know if it was a real idol because she doesn't watch the show. And I think Julie would be like, "He's safe now." Like, wait a damn minute.
Woo!
I think it would have been good if, like, to psych out the rest of the cast to be like, you know, on week 6 when we did this competition, none of you checked under the bed, or, you know, like, and maybe, but generally when you do things like that in speeches, because people have tried, I think it usually flops because, like, people just get confused. Like, what are you
Yeah.
doing? But I think you pulling it out in the interview was probably better.
I wanted to give a shout out to house calls in my exit interview. I was always like, if I'm gonna die, I'm gonna say like, and listen, I'm sure we'll talk about this tomorrow morning on house calls, but I didn't know how familiar Jerry was. I straight up asked him on stage. I was like, are you actually a fan? You can tell me the truth. And he was like, yes. And I'm very shocked you're here right now. And so I just didn't know how big of a fan he was. So the idol play ended up working out.
Yeah.
The picture, I look really cool in it, but yeah,
I think
I feel like we both ate. We both
I think
win.
what's super nice about it is like you didn't know you were going, but it was a really good tone to leave on. Like I think it was very like Quinn, you know, and I think that's all you can really ask for. Can you remove this from the screen? Let me fix the formatting quickly.
I like all this down there.
Exactly. Okay. So, in conclusion, BB25 versus 26. I think if you're a casual, there's no debate. 26 is a much better season. If you are a super fan, you can have a debate where I think most people would land on 26 is the better season. For me, as someone who values strategy, the day-to-day of it, the nuance, the gaminess, the paranoia, the flipping, I prefer 25, but I think that is a very unique, singular perspective that I accept is slightly counterculture, slightly edgy, Quinn.
As someone who's self-obsessed, I'm of course going to advocate for BB26 to be the greatest season since Big Brother 7. But this debate is very interesting for me just because I applied for Big Brother 25. I did not go far in the casting process at all because I applied super late and I didn't do a good job in the phone call. But I was very, very, very invested in the day-to-day of Big Brother 25. So your season actually will always hold a special place in my heart because it felt like I was studying for when I was going to be on the show. Yeah. And I was like, I need to be invested. I need to be a part of the community. I had to delete a lot of my tweets. But it was like, that's when I was like for real live tweeting the season, keeping up with the live feed updates, watching clips on Twitter. Like I got zero work done. Like Builder Trend, fuck you, the software company in Omaha, Nebraska. I got zero work done while Big Brother 25 was happening. But we're the best. Come on.
No, it's funny. I think the assessment of BB25 as like a decent season, a good season, or a terrible season is like, can you appreciate the journey for what it was? Like knowing there's no hope and America will never win an HOH is a big bummer in rewatching the season. And like when you think back to how you felt, but you didn't know there was no hope as it was going on. So I think people were very like invested and like really going to bat. 26, I don't think has that distinction where however you view it, it's a kind of consistent product of like the whole thing worked out how it was supposed to work out. There was enough hope. There was enough sadness. There was enough humor. I think it's more consistent. And like, if someone says 26 is one of their least favorite seasons ever, you look at them sideways. You're like, what are you talking about? Why?
Like, okay. I will say you had a better double eviction than us. That's like for sure, for payoff. Other than it getting nullified, but like when you won and then Matt won, I'm not kidding. I was jumping on my Craigslist couch, or I got it from like Goodwill or whatever. It was really cheap. I was jumping up and down, and I was like, that's what I'm talking about. When you won, as a viewer, it felt like I won. I'm not kidding. It was like the best. I just watched the double eviction literally like yesterday.
Yeah.
Of our season. It is so boring. It's like dramatic because Angela and Leah die on the same night. But it's like
Angela getting close in that HOH, it was fucking crazy for a minute. I was like, oh my God, what is happening? Especially because she falls behind at the start and then catches up. Like, there was
Angela
and
probably
also
puts up.
Remind me, is Chemo fucked there if he doesn't win that veto, or is it just Angela no matter what?
No, it's Angela no matter what.
Okay.
She was so unpredictable that it was like she was like an agent of chaos. I think that if I could time travel, I would really pitch the like Leah and Angela working together, just because it was like if she didn't put me on the block like Chelsea, and then Leah goes home, it's not like I'm gonna go hang out with Angela. And Angela was such an agent of chaos. It's just a declaration to how good of a player Chelsea is and how inactive of players that Rubina, T-Core, and Chemo were. The fact that they didn't even try to like lure Leah over to their side because like misogyny, like that's crazy to me. Like, but the double eviction for yours with no zombie week is one of the best double evictions ever, in my opinion.
And granted, and I appreciate that, granted, the next double eviction is one of the worst ever, where it's Bowie wins a quiz and then Matt wins the most unfair comp ever and America goes home unceremoniously. Like that was, so, you know, we had two of them, you had one of them. I think yours was entertaining enough because the HOH comp was good, but yeah, I think ours was the best, that first one.
Dude, it was like a coughing baby versus hydrogen bomb, as it's a race between Felicia, Siri, and Matt. That's crazy disrespectful.
Dude, it was the reaching the arms down to drop the ball. Matt literally like could touch the bottom of the pipe. Like he was just like,
he's a swimmer too, which is like known to have like really long arms. Like that's so
meanwhile
funny. And then
America has to shoot like a 3-pointer to make it.
just Kobe, like chucking it. And then like the clip of Bowie dropping the wrong ball into that was hilarious. I was in the streets defending Bowie. I was like, sorry, she's hilarious. Hashtag BB25. Like, come on, dude.
Hey, everyone makes mistakes. At least Bowie's were in a silly game called Big Brother. But that'll do it for the stream. Thank you all for hanging out. Thank you so much, Quinn. I locked you into a 2.5-hour ordeal. My bad. And we also prepped for like an hour before, so we're kind of doing a lot.
This was so much fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think it's a walk down memory lane. I think the purpose of it is like, well, we're going to 27, and look, I'm always going to talk about 25. Quinn will always talk about 26, but like 27 is happening, and I think we're both super excited for that. Quinn, do you have anything to say? Look, everyone knows where to find you, but do you want to give out your links anyways?
Check me out every now and Quinn on Twitch, 7:12 CST, 6 days a week. Follow me on Instagram at I believe that we will Quinn. I think that's it. Chat, I would like you to vocalize now. I'm going to be hanging out with AmeriCory, okay? Yes. And we're going to do some taste tests, all right?
That's true.
Of some fun stuff. So I'm going to post on my story and make sure you submit your votes for what kind of alcohol Cory and America should sip on.
Alcohol. I was like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, no, we're not doing
We're going to be
crazy,
tasting some good stuff. I'm like, oh.
Some moonshine.
Ooh, shit.
I keep seeing these TikToks, and so we're gonna be doing that. With the cardboard boxes. Everyone tune in, all right?
Yeah. So we'll be doing some content stuff over not tomorrow, but the day after, and for a few days we'll be hanging out. So check in for that. Otherwise, I appreciate you guys. We're gonna have again next week's book club will be Mockingjay, so start reading that if you haven't already. I will be taking quite a few days off streaming because of this little trip, but I'll be back after that. Otherwise, I appreciate you guys. Are any of the homies live or any friends live, or are we just going to end this stream? Can't raid Quinn. So
Twitch.tv.
Who else? What other friends do I have? Like, I don't... I mean, at this time of day, podcast on Tuesday or taking
Dave
a break.
Ball from
we'll put out
Survivor.
Dave Ball streams?
Yeah. One time you rated me, and then like an hour later I rated him. He popped up and went, "Oh shit!" he was like, "Motion! Oh my god!" Like, because we get a pretty good. You get way better than me, but even like whenever I rated him with like 40 people, he's always like, "Oh my god, this is crazy!" But